here today as well. And I think I was having a chat with Will Hahn when we were walking into the courts today, and he said this is going to be one of those ones which is going to be a long day out on court. There's no easy matches today, and I think he's right in what we're about to see. So I'm going to jump straight off the bat and say I'm very excited to watch Will versus Matty Burton out here. I think it's going to be an absolute mouth-watering match-up to see. You know, are they doing a little something with their lineups there?
Potentially so.
Potentially so, but I mean, we're lucky to see this matchup. Matthew Burton, from what I've heard, he's been playing some incredible tennis. You can see in his records leading into today, he's had some great matches. But Will Hahn as well, being undefeated this season. I think the pressure is on these two to get the day started and maybe get that one up on the other team.
Absolutely.
Go through it.
Absolutely. And the lineup for today for Hensman Park, Ethan Cook's coming in at number 1 for Hensman Park. Matty Burton, as Robbie Kennedy just made mention, he's coming in at number 2. We've got Austin Voss at 3, and Evan Manso, the captain for Hensman Park Tennis Club, he's coming in at number 4. He's his first singles match, traditionally a doubles player, and a very good doubles player, Evan Manso. For the Cottesloe team, Scott Jones, the number 1 player, the best player in WA as it currently stands in the local competition. WA Open winner in December last year. William Hahn, as you made mention, Willie Hahn is in the article for the West Australian today. We've got Sam English coming in at 3 and Max Weir at number 4. This is a blockbuster, as we made mention, for a matchup 1 versus 2. It is, you know, the two big clubs really in the men's competition this season vying for it. Hensman Park, of course, dual winners, back-to-back winners last year, looking to go the three-peat, and of course Cottesloe Tennis Club looking and vying to be the winners this year. I'm expecting some fireworks out here today, Robbie Kennedy. Both clubs very passionate players out on court. It is a hot day, 36 degrees expected temperature today. There may be a heat rule invoked. If that's the case, 37 degrees, players will need to come off the court until the temperature drops below 37 degrees. But as it currently stands, we're probably sitting around 33, so we've still got a few degrees to play with, Robbie.
Yeah, and I think that's going to play a big part today. It's going to be able to see who can handle the conditions the best. There's no wind to speak of at the moment, so it's definitely going to be sweaty and hot out on that court. It's quite warm here in the box where we're sitting as we're watching, but we're in a much more comfortable position than they are. We harped a lot on the number 2s, but I think we've got to be getting excited for the number 1 match. I'm very excited to see Scott Jones step out on the court. He's having an incredible year, as you said, number 1 player in the state at the moment. We did say a little bit about the lineup, so that said, that's nothing to discredit Ethan Cook, coming off a 3K Ripper tournament win. So he's obviously in some fantastic form, and hopefully he can go and put some pressure on Scott, and who knows what can happen when 1v1 get out on a court.
Absolutely. Round 7 of the Goods Property Services Tennis West State League men's competition, 1 versus 2, Hensman Park up against Cottesloe, being played at Hensman here. This is the 3rd time we've actually broadcast from Hensman Park. Beautiful location here in the middle of South Perth. If anyone wants to come down, come on in. It's free, of course. The bar is open. The people are friendly. Come and see the best players going around playing this wonderful game of tennis. And again, you know, we'll keep you up to date with all the other scores going across the State League men's and women's competitions. Of course, there's some great women's matchups going across this afternoon, and looking forward to bringing you all the results as the day plays out. But again, we're going to be focusing on court number 1 and court number 2. Court number 1, the number 2 singles players in Matthew Burton from Hensman Park up against Will Hahn, and Evan Manso up against Max Weir. Now, what can you tell us about the number 2 court with Evan Manso up against Max Weir from Cottesloe? Max Weir, he's a junior who's really started to step up this year. Big, tall kid, very big game, and against the bit of a journeyman in Evan Manso. I mean, this shapes up to be a really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. You can see Max is out there. It looks like he's grown another 6 inches since I last saw him. He's very tall in stature and hopefully takes advantage of that big serve. But Evan Manso might be his first singles match. He's very fit.
Yep.
I know he works hard on his endurance and he works on his fitness. And as I said, that's going to play a big part. If he can get the points to go long enough and fit into the way that he wants to play, I think he might be able to get on top there. But again, good last. I think that's nice to seeing him out there pumping some serves down on that second court. Again, we harp on the big matches, we harp on the 1s and the 2s. It's the reason for that can really set it up for a season and take the pressure off the big guys. So looking forward to seeing that match as well. Absolutely.
My name is Brett Patton, sitting alongside Rob Kennedy for today's broadcast. Just with the heat today, Robbie, you being a former player, what can we expect with these? I mean, it's a dry day, it's a very humid day, it's a hot day, particularly on hard courts. I mean, what sort of conditions do the players need to be in to absorb that heat and really play the match they want to play throughout the afternoon?
Shorten up those points, and if you're shortening up those points, you're not playing the right shot at the right time. So if they're not coming in prepared, they haven't been hydrated before today, it's going to show. Obviously, we've got the super tyres a third, so that does play a little bit of a difference. They know they're not going any further than that sort of 2 sets of a super tyre. But at the same time, you're going to see the guys wanting to play the points, or at least have the match speed on their terms. So So you might get some out there that want to speed it up. You might get some out there that will start seeing it a bit slower and really extending between points as well. Possibly if they're seeing someone struggle out there, to leave them out on court a little bit longer. So we will see who's done the work, and it'll show maybe their shot selection and also just their time between points as well.
And that's a good leading into the start of this match. All matches played best of 3 sets. Third set will be a super tiebreaker, and that is first to 10 points in both singles and doubles, as we're just waiting for Will Hahn to move into position against Maddie Burton. Really excited for this particular matchup. Great pedigree family, the Burtons. Good article in the West Australian today with Will Hahn. You can hear the crowd just starting to fire up for the start of this match. And of course, Matthew Burton, part of the winning Hensman Park State League side last year, and his sister Hayley was also the captain of the Hensman Park Women's State League side, who won the competition last year. Great pedigree. Looking forward to this match. Will Hahn just getting ready. And that's the style we'll expect from Will. Big lefty serve. I mean, you're a left-handed player, Robbie, and the advantages of a left-hander, particularly to the ad court with that serve, I mean, that's got to play its part today.
Absolutely. Favourable to our fellow lefties. We've got he's going to use that swing. He's going to stick it into the body as well. And that first one there, just really came down the key serve. I think that he wasn't too happy with it. He's kind of in the slot, but we're going to see it. Very, very good.
Matthew Burton from Hensman Park, closest to the camera, returning serve. Will Hahn, Cottesloe. A terrific first 6 rounds, left-hander. Both contrasting styles, and we'll get that feel early in this match. Maddie Burton is a counter-puncher, back of the court, does come forward when he needs to, but we'll see a more aggressive style of play from Will Hahn. He does like to serve and volley, and anything short, you will see Will Hahn move forward.
It's interesting, maybe Matt was looking for that, because the return was quite short, so maybe looking to get down his feet if he was serving volley, but Will staying back on that one, getting around, typical left-hand, getting around, playing that forehand, looking for that serve +1 kind of attack.
No linesman, no ball kids, so all players will be calling their own lines. There is a referee, Jill Sheridan. She'll be adjudicating on the day, but all courts. Will Hahn serving. Again, coming out smoking. 3 first serves right into the slot, and again, that is right into the strength of Maddie Burton. He does like that backhand wing, but just missed timing, just getting used to the pace the ball's coming down.
Yeah, early days, he's not really going to give away too many free balls like that. Just letting him tip up. Will Hahn, just looking for that rolling and slice. He hasn't actually done too much with it just yet, but I'm sure he will again as well.
Of course, Will does have a brother, Tom. He does play. He's over in college at the moment. Academic scholarship in the US. Yeah, nice first game from Will Hahn. That'll fill him full of confidence as they're looking to change ends, grabbing the towels, moving around. You can see Matt Burton in frame at the moment.
So there was that change of pace. Went the flatter one that time down the tee to Matt's forehand. It was a good return, but Will keeping that nice depth and just catching Matthew Burton off a little bit with that depth. And yeah, a nice easy serve.
That's what you want to start the match? Yeah, absolutely. We just want to thank Goods Property Services for sponsoring the men's and women's state league competition. So we skip across to court number 2, watching Evan Manso closest to the camera. Returning serve against big serving Max Weir from Cottesloe. Max has had a breakout season this year. Hasn't lost a match in the men's state league, and he's been a real surprise packet. Maddie Burton serving. Will Hahn closest to the camera from Cottesloe. Just overplaying that back end. Caught himself about 2.5 metres behind the baseline. The balls are flying. I mean, in the hotter conditions, the balls will generally fly through the court. And that's when you need to put a little bit more spin on the ball rather than hitting through the ball, Rob. Ball coming back on the court, just moving that away, avoiding any chance of injury. Went after that forehand, and we'll see that, the aggressive style of Will Hahn, just overplaying that forehand. Seen a lot of consistency on those first serves to start the match. It's very unusual. Come out very positive, both players. And again, the ball just flying off the racket of Will Hahn. Just, it looks like he's using the Onyx racket. Strings seem a little bit loose. I think he's going to change rackets as we speak. He's recognised the fact that you're getting too much of a trampoline effect. So if we talk to that the looser the strings, Robbie, the more trampoline effect, so you get more power. Tighter strings, you get more control. So he wanted, in these conditions, he wants those strings to be a little bit tighter.
Absolutely. And if you're not feeling comfortable out there, a good racket change is sometimes what you need. Get something a little bit tighter and feel comfortable with what you're holding.
One game apiece. Will Hahn serving, closest to the camera from Cotter Slate. Beautiful forehand down the line. That's the talent that Will Hahn possesses, and that huge weapon off that forehand wing. We're starting to see the styles here. Matty Burton counter-punching, and Will really trying to take the game on.
I'll tell you right now, though, if Matty's going to keep this up, he's really attacking the middle, but if he's too short on that ball, you can see Will is just going to absolutely get around to that forehand. He's now played two different lines. He's gone out wide with the off forehand, and he has gone inside in as well. So Matty's going to have to find that depth soon, or there's going to be some trouble out there. Oh, that's very cunning. You see that sliding left serve? We spoke about the opening stage of this match. That left-handed serve, swinging serve to the ad court to a right-hander. It can be just devastating for the returner. He's definitely playing left-handers one-on-one tennis out there at the moment. He's using that line serve, got that short ball, he's looking to attack off, but at that time taking the pace off with the drop shot. But it's the depth of his serve at the moment. His depth compared to Matty's, it's very much deeper with a lot of pressure on Matty, so he'll be looking to keep that up.
Long. Oh, beautiful constructed point. We saw the ability for Matty to move forward, and he recognised beautiful deep backhand, had the opportunity to move in, and did. Very smart player, Matthew Burton.
That's the return he's getting looking for. It actually wasn't a bad kick out. We saw the bounce from here, how high it got up on that. He put it that deep. He went for a bit flatter on that backhand, really put the middle out wide. Actually went out to his forehand instead of just playing down the middle. Open up the court. It was a fantastic play, and something that he's going to be looking for.
Words of Rob Kennedy, head of tennis for Tennis West, former touring pro, former coach. We're in very good hands today. No Tom George, High Performance Academy manager. Bringing you all the Goods Property Service State League results from right across this afternoon. First let. Might talk to some of the rule changes up to this point. Get your insights into where you think the game should change. There's that left-handed, devastating left-handed sliding serve again from Will Hahn. What are your thoughts around, every sport seems to go into, they like to quicken the sport up or make it more attractive to participants and kids. Is there anything in the game of tennis do you think they need to do? They've tried the fast four. What do you think they need to do? They need to play lets? They need to keep the lets as they are? Robbie, I'll be interested after this point. Right on the money again. Good deep serve from Willie Hahn. 2-1. Will Hahn changes ends.
You can tell right there he had about 5k extra on those last two serves. But yeah, in regards to rules, for me the first one that comes to mind obviously being as college player, we always played lets. Is it one for quickening up? Is it two to just the rule if it goes in, play it? It's very easy to say I heard something and I'm not questioning anyone's sportsmanship, but maybe it's just a way to one, speed up the game, but two, take that controversy out of the game as well. You don't mind seeing that? I wouldn't mind it. I don't think it's the end of the world. The last thing we want is controversy out on the court. It does speed it up a little bit and get everybody playing. pace at the moment. I don't mind that without a big, the third set super tie. There are questions each way and the other, but yeah, I think we're going to make it all Saturday. We won't pick them today. We want people to come and watch as well.
Watching Evan Manso here, serving furthest from the camera from Hensman Park, the captain of the men's state league team in Hensman, currently leading 1 game to love. An early break against Max Weir from Cottesloe. In both counter punches. Evan Manso, his first singles match for the state league season. Off to a good start. No, lovely touch. Oh, we see Max Weir just fall there. He seems to be okay. Nice bit of sportsmanship shown as we sneak back across to court number 1. Matthew Burton serving, trailing 2 games to 1. Matty Burton generally plays that number 1 spot, but Hensman Park have changed their order around today. First serve let. Good tactic. Do you like those tactics to change your orders around, Rob?
I'm a big fan of tactics in the game. I think that's why we play team sport, is to be tactical. So
Beautiful point. Just that 1-2 punch. And that's what the men's game is built on at the moment. That big serve and then leaning in on that big forehand.
He's got his depth back, which is nice. He's attacking that ball. He's put down wide a couple of times to Will's forehand and been happy to come in and follow that ball, which is good to see. But yeah, tactics are great. Make sure no one's got an idea of exactly who they're going to play. And against a team like this, sometimes you just got to throw a little bit of something different at them. And Scotty might have been prepared for someone. Will might have been prepared for someone. Now they've got someone else to look at. They've got to think on their feet straight away.
Overplaying that form, but the right play. Again, he's looking to be the aggressor and really take the game up to Matt, particularly off that forehand wing. He's not holding back, Will Hahn.
Yeah, I don't mind that he's going for it. He's in a position to do so. That said, he's missed 2 off forehands now, so maybe he's probably going to pull it back just a little bit and see what he can do with the next ball. But I don't mind him having a crack. The ball's already hit.
Got a nice serve, just jamming up Will Hahn on that backhand wing. Both boys just filling each other out at the moment. Hot conditions out here. Of course, if we get to 37 degrees, the match will need to be stopped until the temperature drops below 37 degrees. The heat rule has been in play for the last 15 years in the Men's and Women's State League in WA. And given the extreme heat that we have over here in WA, particularly on hard courts through summer, it's definitely the right play, Rob.
Oh, 100%. You've got to put player safety first. It's always first and foremost of any competition, so I don't have a problem with this rule at all.
Will Hahn serving, nice deep serve, catching the baseline. Games are on serve here in the number 2 singles between Will Hahn and Matty Burton. Of course, Matty Burton closest to the camera from from Hensman Park Tennis Club. Will Burton just striding back. Tall, powerful left-hander. My name is Brett Patton, sitting alongside Rob Kennedy, head of tennis for Tennis West, bringing you the broadcast for the Goods Property Services Men's and Women's State League right across this afternoon. Beautiful sunny day out here, about 33 degrees temperature-wise. Again, that swinging serve out to the ad court by Will Hahn to the to the right-handed backhand of Matty Burton. It does, particularly at the right hand or two-handed backhand, when you're swinging that ball away, they have to let go of that top hand, use the one hand, which they're not familiar with. So it's such an effective play.
The great thing about it is you can make a read on it as well based on what happens with their returner, whether that hand comes off, whether you know you've pushed them out a little bit wider, whether you've caught them off with the speed as well, and it allows you to really move to what that next shot needs to be. It's going to be in Matt's head right now, because if you let Will just sit on that serve, Will knows he can come back to it at any point in a difficult situation, so he's going to want to get on top of it very soon. That said, I've seen him, put some really good deep returns back, but we can't let him get on top of that. He's got to get on top of that slice serve for sure.
Absolutely. The two matches being played at the moment. Will Hahn from Cottesloe up against Matthew Burton from Hensman Park, and of course Evan Manso, the captain of Hensman Park, up against Max Weir from Cottesloe on court number 2. We're seeing Matty Burton just come into frame, getting ready to serve, currently trailing 3-2, Robbie.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games now where Will's really going to want to step up, put a bit of pressure on him. He's had a few holds quite easily. He's held his serve quite comfortably. So now he's going to really want to put that pressure on with the returner serve, get them back in play as deep as possible, and look to get around, hit that forehand, and have those options of whether he's going inside in or inside out. And I think he's really thinking right now. It's all about making returns, making Matty play, and let's see what he can set up from there.
Burton serving, currently trailing 2-3. Beautifully constructed point. That's more into Matt's wheelhouse, though, isn't it? That's the style of game he wants to play, keeping it away from the big offensive weapon of Will on that forehand wing.
Absolutely. You could see that he's playing into the safe zones there. Will couldn't do too much with it, really playing into those safe zones. But then all of a sudden when the opportunity came, pushed him out wider to that forehand again, got it a bit flatter down to Will's backhand. But I think that's definitely the pace and where Matt's going to want to put these balls and make Will, have to make the decisions. Does he want to get around and attack on a forehand, which maybe the ball's not there to be played? So I think that's going to be the tactic we're going to see from Matt, and it's going to make Will think a little bit more of what he's going to do.
15 love. Very generous on that call. I thought the ball was probably half a foot long on that first serve, but Will Hahn played the ball. 30 love. On serve, just feeling each other out again.
Maybe that's why you didn't like the linesman. It was very flush on the line just there, Brett Patton.
Good?
I saw it very good, and a good call by Will.
By the Hawkeye. Beautiful running forehand, just overplaying, but I like that attacking style from Matty Burton. What do you make about the Hawkeye nowadays? A lot of the tournaments around the world are going to the Hawkeye system. They're losing the tradition of the linesman. What's your thinking around that? Do you like the theatre with the linesman, or do you prefer to have the Hawkeye so players really got no one to challenge?
If we're getting the call right, I'm with that. So if the call is right, then that's what we want. So as much as you did love the old let's call it up and have a look and chant it out, that was always fun to see. But again, we talk about speed of play. I don't mind the Hawkeye, and I was very impressed at the last AO with how it worked. But still having the chair umpire in there, I think chair umpire is absolutely key and tradition to the game for sure.
See Will Hahn really trying to get around to hit it on that forehand side. That is clearly his bigger weapon, and he was being pushed to the backhand corner, but his footwork, his conditioning, getting around and playing that off forehand really started to dominate that point.
I think we noticed on that one as well, he actually got that ball a little bit higher. So it bounced up quite high to Matt Burton there at the back, maybe hoping that Matty will have to drag it down a little bit lower and end up being a little bit shorter, which will allow him to get around and play that ball, not let him just hit flat through that ball like he wants to.
Matty Burton serving, Hensman Park. Both teams wearing the white shirts. just taking the pace off that ball. I did like that tactic to try to bring Matty Burton forward, but just didn't execute well.
Yeah, there was a lot of change of pace in that point just there, and I don't think the slice is a bad option just to change up, especially Matty. You can tell when it's in his hit zone, he's striking that ball so well. So just to change it up, get it up out of his hit zone, that one there maybe to get lower than his hit zone, just to mix it up and change the pace. But you can see, we talked about the conditions, he's going to find it hard to get around to that forehand, especially in this heat, as the fatigue kicks in. So he's going to have to do something, and maybe that slice there is to sort of just change it up for him.
Holding serve, 3 games apiece into this all-important 7th game. Will Hahn serving from Cottesloe. Down the tee, catching top of the tape. First serve again. Beautiful serve again, just jamming up Matty Burton. Some of the better left-handers that have come out of WA over recent years. Robbie Kennedy, yourself, obviously Will Hahn, Gary Pempathy, Casey Delacqua, Roger Grant, great left-hander.
I definitely don't belong in that list, but you missed out Brenton Bacon.
Brenton Bacon,
he's got to be listening as well, so he'd be filthy if we don't mention him. He's definitely had my number many a time. So, yeah, a few lefties coming out of WA. And
beautiful serve down the tee, lovely rhythm on Will Hahn's serve. Yeah, it's interesting to play the left-hander. Shane Smedley, part of our broadcast team, was also one of the great WA left-handers.
I think being a left-hander is the only thing that gets me in comparison on that list, but it's impressive. I must admit, yeah, it was an advantage. It always was an advantage, and I never liked playing lefties myself, so, yeah.
They were playing the forehand, but you can see just working the middle corridor, Will Hahn, until he gets the forehand that he's after, and then he can really hit that off forehand to take Matty Burton out of his comfort zone. Yeah, Matty served well though. He's 40 love up.
Matty will be upset at that one. That's the ball. It's in your slot. He'll want to put that one away, and he missed it by quite a bit. So
40 love. You can see both boys going to the towel. Matty just popped a string, so just had a bit of a breather. Working very hard.
That would suggest why he missed it by so much. So I'll take that comment back. Nice swinging serve. Just calling it wide. Second serve wide. Yeah, lovely play. Love that aggressive attacking play. Certainly we don't see enough of that style of play. Getting that short ball moving forward. A lot of players nowadays, they're too reliant on their ground strokes and trying to hit a passing shot. But gee whiz, the flashiness, the spectacle, you know, the athletes moving forward, it's wonderful to watch. Absolutely. I'm loving watching Will play at the moment. It's tennis 101. It's baseline, safe zones down the corridor, sort of starting to move your opponent. When you get that short ball, pounce on it. He's utilising the speed off his serve well. He's using that swing, using that kicker well, mixing up some paces. But it's going to be interesting to see if this one's going to open up or not. We're on serve still. Indeed, as we're watching Max Weir from Cottesloe serving. Back on serve, currently trailing 1 game to 2. Evan Manso from Hensman Park. Over playing that backhand. Some of the spectators at Hensman Park just witnessing this match. Tim Weir, the father of Max, he's floating around under a tree, and of course Dave Cully, the coach at Cottesloe Tennis Club, he's down here watching all the charges go around. 1 versus 2 in the Goods Property Services Round 7 Tennis West State League competition. It's action-packed, it's jammed with talent this year, and it's a wonderful, very close competition. Speaking of which, I think we see Ashley Burton behind the court as well, watching his son Matt play as well. So it's great to see. Great generations in the game of tennis. It's what we love. It's a family sport. Watching Will Hahn just walk back out onto court, leading 4 games to 3, holding serve without too much challenge at this stage. All courts, all matches played with 3 balls. Balls they're using this year, Dunlop, part of the AO Summer of Tennis. How much difference do the balls make as far as the branding of the ball? Absolutely, they make a huge difference. I don't know, that might be me, that's my opinion. Absolutely made a huge difference. Back in the day, Slazengers, and then all of a sudden you get handed a Wilson. It made a big difference. And on the day, if they handed you a ball that you weren't a fan of, I don't know, psychologically it did things to me, but you could definitely tell the difference between particular balls, and plays a huge part. From everything that I've heard, the Dunlops have been well received, and playing really well out on the court.
I mean, Schlesinger was the traditional ball of tennis for many years, played at the All England Lawn Tennis Club, Wimbledon. Played here throughout the summer of tennis back in the 70s and 80s. A lot more balls out there in the market at the moment. Yeah, beautiful rally, and Will Hahn just acknowledging the big backhand on that occasion with a nice little fist pump. That's the first time we've seen him gear himself up. Currently leading 4-3, all important 8th game here in this very first match of the Goods Property Service Round 7 Tennis West State League competition. Matty Burton closest to the camera, serving from Hensman Park. One of the real form players throughout the last 2 seasons. Oh, if you don't mind, just the running forehand winner down the line from Will Hahn. Outstanding, curling that ball around. A bit like Rafael Nadal, that left-hander.
Unbelievable forehand on the run there. I was sitting there, I was nearly just about to say what a great point by Matt, which it was. He got everything he wanted there, but Will's just chased that one down, wrapped it around and caught the line there. So you couldn't ask for a much better shot and a showcase as we expected today.
Yeah, 8th game, love 30. Opportunity here for Will Hahn. Overplaying that first serve. There's the opportunity he wanted. He got the second serve. He opened the shoulders up. Trying to hit the off forehand, just overplaying. He'll be ruining that opportunity. Still finds himself up at 15-30, but I love 40. That would have given him 3 cracks at a break of serve this deep in the first set.
Yeah, hopefully he's just going to let that one go and move on. He didn't even look really like he was doing that much with it. Had a lot of spin and a lot of height, but he's going to have to forget it and move on.
First serve, Matty Burton serving. Again, got the shot he was looking for, waited patiently, just overplaying that forehand, 30 all.
He's got to go back to that mindset of that earlier point where he had 3 inside-out forehands, which he got around. He put 2 nicely just out wide. Then he went inside in. He's going to be ruining those last 2 balls because he's in the spot that he wants to be. It also allows Matt to think, keep putting the ball back, play the way that he wants to. Will's just got to continue to break that mould, and he's going to be upset at those last 2 points.
We've spoken often about the technology changes in the game, Robbie, and we'll touch on that in a moment. The way it's changed, the way the game is played over the last 2 decades. 30 all. Overplaying, you can see the quicker conditions out here. The balls are flying through the air, and again, just mistiming that backhand from Will Hunt. I mean, how have you found the technology change, particularly since you're a junior? You would have come through maybe the aluminium stage or the graphite stage. The strings were the old style cat gut. But nowadays, you know, the lighter frames, the strings are more grittier. And again, well held, 4 games apiece there.
Yeah, it wasn't in the aluminium phase, but graphite
you
phase
certainly
for
up
sure.
for the wood phase.
Yeah,
though,
no, absolutely. I don't mind picking up a wood racket as well, mate. They're lovely to hit with. But even just the build of players as well, the size, the strength, attributing also to the technologies as well, is just the way the game's changed. We haven't seen a genuine serve and volley out on the court today. They're just, you know, strong, powerful shots, and the technologies are a credit to that.
So we're sneaking across to court number 2. Max Weir, closest to the camera for Cottesloe. Tall, rangy athlete, having a breakout year in the men's state league competition this year against Evan Manso, serving from Hensman Park, the captain of the Hensman Park State League team. One day out here. Overplaying that forehand from Evan Manso. Very tight affair on serve between Manso and Max Weir. Weir and Manso just waiting. Max Weir ready to serve. Just taking their time, actually looking at the adjoining court. This wonderful rally, that 30-stroke rally. Max Weir ready to serve. Big serve, gee whiz.
He's just missed it wide.
Very Ivo Karlovic about Max Weir at the moment. Tall, rangy player, hitting the ball from a great height.
It's not much better than watching a tall guy just make a serve look so easy, and he's got that kind of
Beautiful
style.
cross-court forehand. Yeah, you're right, Robbie. There's some easy power too, just leaning into it, moving the body weight through the shot. It's more body weight than arm, and I think that's what players got to recognise. To get pace, you don't need to swing your racket or your arm quick. It's just that nice fluid body weight moving into the serve, a bit like a golf swing. You don't need to stroke the ball as hard as you can or try to hit it as hard as you can. It's just using the momentum, using that body weight, and we're seeing that out here, particularly with Max Weir on the first and second serves.
I think mix that with the technology, as we talked about just before as well. Let the racket do its work. You know, we're right here on the baseline. We're watching him just lean into that court. Good knee bend. Look at that.
Yeah, beautiful. Easy power again as Evan Manso goes back to the back court. And this will be a test for Evan Manso. I mean, his first singles for this season.
So you're on this one.
Up against a hardened singles player in Max Weir from Cottesloe.
Yes, but I need to get rid of the on the screen. Okay, so you go. Give me your hands up. And then I'll fix that one.
Max Weir.
It's a battery. No, it's not battery. It's heat.
Tall
But yes,
athlete.
yes, battery, correct.
Second year in State League for Max Weir. Sister at college under a nice college tennis program. Here's that big 1-2 punch. The big first serve followed up with the off forehand. Just love that. You know, we'll stay with this court. Just a few technical issues on court number 1. We'll keep you updated with the score. Will Hahn currently leading 5 games to 4. Just held serve, putting the pressure on Matthew Burton as they change ends. I'm watching Max Weir just come out, looking to get a refresh, a refill of his water bottle. I mean, we've been 40 minutes into this, both matches, into this first set. A lot of water being drunken. That's what they need, Robbie, hydration.
Yeah, as we see James Connolly going out for a little bit of coaching out on the court to Evan. One of the rules that I really love about the state grade competition is having a bit of coaching, being able to step out on court. Any idea what you think you might be saying to him?
Oh, look, you're trying to pump him up in the sense that you've got to make it a little bit more returns, get a bit more depth on your return. Put the pressure back on Max. Max is winning too many free points, particularly off that first serve. He's just got to maybe stand back a little bit, give Max a different look at the returning position. I think if he can get into the rally, keep it away from Max Weir's forehand, because he's just winning so many cheap points. First serve, big forehand. Just moving probably out of court, moving into the forehand wing to open up the backhand, which is not the strength of Max Weir. So there'll be a few discussions regarding that, just making sure he's getting good depth, making it more consistent, and a few tactical adjustments to his game.
Yeah, nothing better than a high-performance coach coming out on the court who's also a team member of yours to just sort of encourage you a little bit more, let you know that things are okay, recognising Max is playing some good tennis at the moment. But I think Evan will be upset, and we talked about it before the matches. He doesn't want to give away those 3 points. If he's in the rally, don't give it away. That's your strength. You've got to make Max work for every point.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis North at Tennis West. How are you enjoying the role? Enjoying the role?
Yeah, loving the role. I think we've all made mention. It's been a crazy start to the summer of tennis, which we love. It's one of those jobs that when we're doing a good job, we're busier and busier as clubs are calling on us. So a Christmas break will be nice. Not that we get much of a break in tennis, especially in summer, but loving the role and, yeah, really proud of the team and the efforts that they're doing. And I'm sure it's well received by everybody out there.
As we come back to the top court, technical issues have been rectified thanks to Tomio Yamazaki and Scotty Walsh. Watching Will Hahn currently leading 5 games to 4 on serve against Matthew Burton, serving furthest from the camera. Both players putting on an absolute ball striking clinic out here today. Weather conditions quite hot and humid. Overplaying. Overplaying the backhand down the line, but I do like that play. Just trying to take Matthew out of his comfort zone, open up the big forehand.
I give him credit. He hasn't shied away from going for the lines and making Matthew Burton move and then hopefully opening up that short ball for him. But he is getting to the point now that he's getting a little bit frustrated at giving away a point. He doesn't want to do that now.
That first serve. Will Hahn closest to the camera from Cottesloe, leading 5 games to 4. Just misplaying that backhand.
We know what separates the good players from the great players is, yes, they have to have their weapons and their strengths, but it's also not giving away the free points as well. So Will's at that point right now where he's going, you know what, I've got to make Matt beat me, and if not, I'm going to make sure I get that ball that I want. So he's gonna get frustrated if he misses these balls, but I give him the credit that he's sticking to his game plan.
Good idea, just moving that ball off the court. Overplaying, you can see the frustration on the face of Will Hahn, overplaying that return to serve again. Just particularly if that backhand wing just doesn't seem to be getting enough spin and control. He's overplaying it on many occasions.
Yeah, I think he got really fooled by the change of pace there. I think even we did here. Really took a lot off that second serve and it caught him off guard. That's the ball he wanted. He went that inside in, got the depth that he wanted, and opened up for his forehand. So he's really filthied himself there. But he's got to look at it and go, you know what? I had opportunities again. That's 2 games that I've had opportunities to break. Let's forget about it. Make sure we hold serve. What are we doing with our systems right now? And then we'll worry about the next break of serve when it comes.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis North, Tennis West, former touring pro, former coach. Shout out to Tom George, who can't be with us today. Tommy George, High Performance Academy manager. No doubt he'll be tuning into the West Australian Live feed of the Goods Property Services.
So 5-all now. Who do you see taking this first set?
I mean, he just loves that counter-punching style. But again, look, I think it's going to come down to who just holds their nerves at this late stage of the first set, Rob. It's 5 games apiece. Right into the hitting zone there of Matty. He would generally make that 9 out of 10 times. But the nervousness, the pressure at this stage, the first set, it's a telling match. This one, they've changed their order around because I think they're better off having Matt against Will than Matt against Scotty Jones. So it's a must-win match for them. So, look, I like the hitting through the court of Will. At this stage, I think I'm leaning towards Will Hahn. Going the tee on that option. Has been going to the swinging serve out to the ad court. Just changing it up a little bit. He's a smart player, Will Hahn. He'll understand the nuances of how he's been playing and trying to change it up. There's that swinging serve again. Got the ball he was after. But again, when we talk about pressure in certain situations, again, during a normal game, maybe 2 or 3, he would have made that shot.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on with who's going to take this set. We're at the point where it's who makes the least amount of errors is clearly going to take this set. It's not quite set up by who's going to take the advantage, who's going to get to the net, who's winning the points. It's who doesn't lose the points at the moment. So they have to keep applying that pressure. But you're spot on. I think Will's using his brain, and anyone who knows the game can see the little nuances that he's changing at the moment.
Will Hahn serving, closest to the camera. Gee whiz, I thought he made a tactical error there. He really should have put that forehand away. Tried to drop it short, did drop it short. Matty Burton, good wheels, ran it down, but a good stretch volley from Will Hahn to close it out.
I think, like you said before, if this was 2-2 or 3-3, if he is going the drop shot, that would have been a lot shorter, but he's just put a bit more there. But I think the boys need to start to realise when they've been getting to the net, I think more times than not, other than that one forehand we saw down the line, the person in the net's been winning the points. So I would like to see someone take that change.
Lovely play. Gee, I like that sign. Spot on to what you were just talking about, Robbie. The aggressor, the person who's prepared to take the match on, move forward, has again come out victor in that point.
I was waiting for Will to turn and give me a smile. I think maybe we're too close to the court, and he's heard me there and gone straight for a serve volley. But as we saw, well played. But to Matthew's credit, made him really earn it at the net too. There were a couple of smashes there, made him play that drop volley. He found his nerve to get that tighter one and keep it in low on that drop volley. So a great point.
Yeah, great hands around the net too, Will Hahn. That low backhand volley just got him out of trouble on the third point. On the third stroke of that point, it was terrific hands. Again, down the tee.
How about yourself?
You serve.
You and I played similar. I like to come into the net. I know you were a net player yourself. In these kind of situations, I loved getting to the net. I felt safe there. I felt, you know what? If you're going to beat me, beat me. But if I'm going to be here at the net, I'm not going to give too much away. I loved getting to the net, and I think seeing Will do that in that game shows his force and shows he's confident to get there as well.
Absolutely. So boys change ends, 6 games to 5 to Will Hahn. Match is 48 minutes old. Very hot, humid conditions out here. As we're watching Max Weir serving from Cottesloe up against Evan Manso from Hensman Park. Again, we spoke to Max Weir's easy power off that first and second serve. Just leans the body into it. Tall athlete. That's a beautiful cross-court backhand winner. You can hear the crowd appreciating such is the talent of young Maxie Weir. And we're seeing him just get down on the haunches a little bit. The heat and the conditions out here are starting to take its toll. He's going to play a part in this match. There's no doubt about that.
I'm finding it interesting, Evan really closing in on that second serve return. I was thinking maybe you sit back, start to put the ball a bit higher. Max is in some quality form. You know, obviously we've had quite a focus here on this front court, but I think every time we've cut across, he is putting that forehand away with ease.
Yep, Maxie Weir winning the first set 6 games to 1.
It's quite a nice crowd forming here today, Brett, and I urge anyone who's listening, we've still got Scott Jones and Ethan Cook to come up. It's a beautiful day here at Hensman Park Tennis Club, so anyone who's in the area, please, as much as I'm sure you're loving listening along, come down and watch some great live tennis.
Here at Hensman Park Tennis Club, well said. Robbie Kennedy, head of tennis for Tennis West. My name is Brett Patton, bringing you the broadcast for the Goods Property Group Round 7 Men's State League competition. Hensman Park sitting on top of the ladder against Cottesloe, the number 2 ranked side. Max Weir serving from Cott.
Scott Jones has just walked out and had a bit of a chat with Will as they cross hands, so maybe Scotty Jones has seen something and just given him maybe a little bit of advice. The last 2 return games for Will, I think he's actually been in the position to possibly take the break. Hasn't had the break point as of yet, but I think a couple of love 30s and a couple of opportunities where he just gave it away. So looking for him to make those returns early and really put the pressure on young Matt Burton.
All athletes are really taking their time just to get themselves set here. They're taking extended breaks, standing at the back of the court where there's a bit of shade. Although there's not much shade out here on the centre court, Robbie. It's bathed in sunshine, trying conditions. Matthew Burton serving, down 5 games to 6. Again, what I like about Matty is really working over that backhand wing of Will, and Will's really have to work his condition to get around and try to hit his favourite shot, which is the forehand, and overplaying it on that occasion. This is going to come down to the best conditioned athlete, I think, out here today, because of the trying conditions. It is really hot out there on court.
He's definitely trying to say, you know what, you want to get around, you're going to have to make sure you get around.
Oh, gee whiz. Just catching the top of the tape, Matty Burton. He got the point he was after, he got the stroke he was after. He was taking Will Hahn right out of court, making him work.
I'd love a step count. Will out here is working extremely hard. So
10,000 steps at the moment?
Yeah, he's gonna want to really take this game soon, because I think he's working a lot harder than Matthew is at the moment. That's nothing against Matt. He's just in composure in the right spot. Will, as we said, is really looking to get around that forehand, which, as we know, takes a lot more movement and a lot more effort.
Yeah, 15 points all. Just overplaying first serve. Deep into this first set. Well, they're looking to play 2 on that ball. Ball was coming across the court. Will pointed to the ball. Said, no, that's going to interfere with today's play. So I need to play 2 on that. Back to 15 points apiece.
Maddie's going to hate that one because he's hit a cracker of a ball down the line, but it was pretty clear. Will did call it quite early. It was deep in the court. It's not like it was a short ball. So although Matt won't be a fan, it was definitely the right call and an okay call.
No doubt about that. Very fair play, Will. And again, if the ball's coming across and taking your eye off you playing the actual point, of course you've got to call 2.
100%.
15 all, 5 games to 6. I love that change up, that slice backhand deep to the backhand wing of Matty Burton. Just set that forehand up for Willie Hunt. That's what I think he's got to do if he's to have a chance of closing out this settlement. It's 5-6 up, 15-30. He did have chances at the last rotation at that furthest from the camera end. But again, he needs to make good quality return to serve, put the pressure right on Matty Burton here.
Yeah, he used that slice earlier in the set, and he actually worked well, and he missed one, and then he's kind of gone away from him. We talked about it as he did it. We were still happy for him to use that shot, so it's good to see that he's brought it back. Probably a great time to change that pace up as well.
And you can see Matty just taking a little extended time here, knows the importance of this very point. Again, beautiful play, and Will Hunt fist pumps, and Matty Burton a little frustrated with that backhand. That is his go-to. He does hit that backhand really, really well, but such was the pace of shot, the depth of shot, just caught him off guard. 15-42 set points for Will Hunt from Cottesloe.
I think it's also that change ratio. So when he's getting around to that forehand, inside out, he's going inside out, 3-to-1 ratio. And there's that one, just that little one to remind you, I can go inside in as well.
Just turning defence into offence there. Beautiful deep shots from Will Hahn, but Matty turned that backhand deep and just moved forward again. Gives himself another opportunity to close his first set out, 30-40. But gee, I did like that aggressive play by Matty. You can see he's really starting to struggle at the back of the court. He's going to the towel. He's going to stand in the shade just to give himself a few extra seconds. Take a little bit more time.
I think they're both finding their range. There were some deep balls. I nearly forgot I had a bit of a job to do here. I got enthralled by that point just with the way that they were striking the ball. So they're definitely finding their range. That little half second, but he knows Will's taking his time, so I think he's making sure he takes his time as well.
Lovely deep serve, and you can hear that from Matty just giving the come on. Telling point there, was down 2 break points and 2 set points. Back on parity now, Juice, 5 games to 6. I mean, talk about character building. To get back to Juice when you're down 2 set points, momentum's in Matty's favour now. And again, beautiful swinging serve. It is interesting momentum. When it comes, you just got to ride it.
I think especially on your serve. Now, he's used that slice, which has a bit of pace behind it. Let's be clear about that as well. But he's used that slice and he's hit that line now 3 times with that serve. So he's definitely feeling his rhythm. And I think that's a little bit why Will's taking his time even a little bit here. Maybe hopefully throw him off that rhythm, get back to where he wants to be. But the composure of Matt Burton is very impressive out here. He's happy for Will to walk around and do his thing, step up when he's ready and execute the play that he wants to.
Game point, Matty Burton. Closest to the camera, serving from Hensman Park. Big serve again. Gee whiz, he dug deep. What's that got to do to Will Hahn? Knowing that he had 2 set point opportunities, now it's back to a tiebreaker. I mean, who comes into this tiebreaker with the momentum?
It's always nice coming off a win and holding your serve. But more importantly, Matt's found his range. Those last 4 serves were incredible. He's used the slider that time. They're changing out with the flat one. He's found his depth. He's found his pace. So I think he's feeling comfortable going into this tiebreak now. And no doubt that's going to be in the back of Will's mind. He's going to take that half second. If he can get that first point though here, that changes everything.
Start of the tiebreaker. Hahn serving. Overplaying the first. Serving into a slight breeze, furthest from the camera. Beautiful play, Matty Burton, the aggressive player there, really flatten that backhand out to give him some advantage moving forward, hitting the overhead winner. 1 point to love, I should say. A nice mini break, Robbie.
I'm loving his change. I think if we look back to the start of the set where he was playing down that middle corridor, he was hitting a lot flatter, a lot lower. He's now given that middle corridor a little bit more height. Still not disregarded his flatter, heavier ball out to the corners. But I'm loving his change. I'm loving his depth. He's making Will think about it a little bit differently in a very crucial time. So a great time to change it up and a great time to find your rhythm.
Matty Burton serving. We'll keep you updated with the Goods Property Services Men's State League results from around the grounds. Love that aggressive play, and we saw him lean in on that forehand, and again, little fist pump, getting that mini break back on serve. 1 point apiece. The intensity's gone up. Boys are really going after their shots here in this tiebreaker.
This is some great tennis. They've done a little bit of a change to our special comments here. We talked earlier about who was going to not give it away. They've both found their rhythm. They're starting to hit some winners. They're starting to get to that ball that they want. It's really impressive. I can't speak too highly of the match that we're watching right now, and it's hard not to get stuck in just watching it and not speaking about it.
We'll give you some results from around the grounds. Some of the other matches being played in the Goods Property Services Men's State League. UWA up against Mount Lawley at UWA, and Royal Kings Park up against Alexander Park. Give you those results following this tiebreak. Nice holder serve there. 2 games, 2 points to 1, I should say. Very tropical day in this broadcast booth. We're getting treated to drinks from Hensman Park. We're being looked after by there's some air conditioners just keeping us cool. You're sweating more in here than you would out on court, Robbie.
And that's saying something, mate, because I was very much known for a bit of sweat out on the court, a little bit of a Kennedy trait, feeling the heat. And I was walking into the match, I said earlier, speaking of Will, and saying, yeah, these are the days I'm pretty happy not to be out on the court. When you see a quality of match like this as well, I'm definitely happy to not be out on the court.
I prefer to play on grass court on a day like this.
Absolutely.
Don't have that heat from coming from beneath your feet. 1-2. Beautiful overhead. Great athleticism from Will Hahn. 2 points apiece. Great move again. The net players being the most successful, particularly in this first set, Robbie. And what you made mention about 30 minutes ago was both players got to recognise that when they do come to the net, they're winning literally 100% of the points.
I think Will definitely looks more at home, a little bit more comfortable there. But we saw in the play before with a couple of points ago with Matt moving towards the net as well. I think, like anything, you've got to find the right ball. They're not in a position to force it. But, yeah, seeing them come in, take that advantage and put the pressure on the other player. As we said, the balls are humming through very quickly. It does put a lot of pressure on the other player to try and pass.
2 points all. First set tiebreaker. Hard serving from Cottesloe. Beautiful forehand. Just catching Will Hahn off guard. Goes up another mini break. 3 points to 2.
That's one of the first times I've really seen Matt move around that kicker. He didn't quite stick it into his backhand there, so he had time to get around, get to that forehand and play a great shot and a great return and put the pressure straight onto Will.
This season he's 1-1 in tiebreakers, Matty Burton. This is the third tiebreaker he's played. Overplaying, 4 points to 2 as they change ends. Got the ascendancy now. The momentum is all in Matty Burton's favour. Do you think he'd know his tiebreak record? Both players, would they think coming into a tiebreaker they know their tiebreak record and that would play in their favour if they had a sort of up in their head count?
It's a question I'd love to ask him because I tell you what, it will tell you what kind of player they are. Are you the kind of player that really looks back on your stats and knows your win-loss ratio about certain players? I've really enjoyed the social media presence of our state grade competition this year because you've had a few guys comment, hold on, I haven't lost to this guy before. What are you trying to hype up here? So it's always interesting to see who knows which, where, what, why and when. So asking him knowing his tiebreaker record, possibly. I always felt comfortable going into a tiebreaker, but that was just a bit of a serve thing for me. But depends who you're playing against and how you feel going into the match at the same time. But yeah, I'd like to know, does he know his record and is he feeling good about it?
Well, he's certainly up in the score count, 4 points to 2. So we're watching Will Hahn change ends. I think the end closest to the camera is probably the more preferred end, not looking into the sun for a left-hander. His first set is over 63 minutes. Overplaying, you could see the depth of shot again from Matty Burton, just keeping Will Hahn on the back foot, and went for too much off that backhand wing, overplaying. 5 points to 2.
He's definitely found his depth. He's definitely found his rhythm. This is one of those moments where you look back earlier in a set and you go, I really wish I got one of those breaks, because we could tell, Matty Burton was 1 or 2 inches away from just, finding this groove that we know he's performed and had those fantastic results this season, and he's really starting to show it now with the 5-2 lead.
The frustration from Willie Hahn must be creeping, given that he had 2 set points on Matty Burton's last service game. Now he finds himself down a couple of mini breaks in this first set tiebreaker, 2 points to 5. Interesting to see how he can dig himself out of this little hole.
This was one of those moments if you're a non-tennis person and you look at a 2-5 and you go, wow, such a big lead, how can you lose from here? But for a tennis person, you go, if I just get this 1 point here and I can get the next one after that, it's 1 mini break and you're back in it. So it's still an okay position. I feel I'm going to see him go wide here and go back to that tennis 101.
Matty was looking for it too. Matty was leaning in on that backhand slider. Nice serve, 3 points to 5.
He really mixes his serves up well. Yes, that was the wide one, but that was the wide one with a bit of pace. He didn't take much off it. He put it out there, said, you know what, if you're going to make this back, let's see what you got. But 3-5, and this is the one I told you about. You get this point here, pressure's right back on Matt.
Let first serve. A long first set, both players. Been out on court over an hour, 65 minutes into the tiebreaker in this first set. All important second singles match here. The Goods Property Service round 7 Tennis West State League competition between Hensman Park and Cottesloe. Top of the table clash. 3-5. Will Hahn serving. Beautiful dipping little backhand from Matty Burton, just forcing the rush. Low backhand volley long from Willie Hahn. 3 set points here from Matt Burton. He's turned the tables here. He was facing 2 set points only a matter of 10 or so minutes ago. Now he's got 3 set points.
Interesting to see he's gone since I was talking about the 3-to-1 ratio, he's really changed to the inside in. I think that's 3 times in a row now he's actually gone inside in. Early on, we definitely saw him prefer to go the inside out. It's a tricky shot, especially when it's below the net. Sometimes you just want to push it out there, but maybe a bit wary of Matt's forehand.
There it is, the opening set, 7 games to 6 for Hensman Park's Matthew Burton. Faced 2 set points of his own, wins it on his very first set point as we watch the boys change ends. Getting a nice first set after 65 minutes on court. Matty Burton, number 2 singles player here today for Hensman Park. Great first set. Both players left it all out on court. We see Matty Burton just getting to get off court, just have a bit of a toilet break.
Yeah, we can't blame them for going for a break, but what a first set. Incredible. I really enjoyed that one. I think for anybody out there watching, young player, experienced player, sometimes you might not be the better player on the court to start with, but if you can just hang in and hope you find your rhythm, it just shows what can happen. So we gave Will the slight edge there, came out with probably found his serve rhythm, found his return a little bit quicker, had some opportunities there to possibly break, but Matt Burton, to his credit, just dug away, stayed in the match, and when his opportunity came, he found the rhythm at the right time, and a credit to him with changing up the pace and the deep balls.
Absolutely, and takes his tiebreak record in this season's Goods Property Service State League to 2 wins and 1 loss in the tiebreakers. Matty Burton. Give you some updates of the other matches being played right across the State League competition this afternoon. Men's competition, Kings Park up against Alexander Park as it currently stands. Ashwin Sharma from Alexander Park got the first set against Jaron Stafford. 6 games to 4, leads 1 game to love. And Lucas Katsamanis from Alexander Park got the first set against John Peachy, 7 points to 5. UWA against Mount Lawley. as it currently stands. Tim Gray from UWA got the first set against Addy Mann, 6-1. And Ethan Farley got the first set against Jasper Patterson from UWA, 6-0. Other matches being played in that same tie. Jury to Black is up 1-0 against Mirko Murdoch. And Ethan Reid is up 6-1 against Reese McDougall. Of course, the Goods Property Services Women's State League results as they currently stand. Alexander Park playing Peppermint Grove at Alexander Park. Peyton Duckett, one of the form players in the women's competition this year for Alexander Park, got the first set 6-0 against Gay Leon from Peppermint Grove. Emma Black got a 6-1, 5-love lead against Katie O'Shea, and that's a real turn-up because Katie O'Shea's had an outstanding season so far. And the other matches being played, Cottesloe versus Hensman. Ella Nurkic up 6-1 and 2-3 against Zeng Zhang from Cottesloe. Juan Yum up a set 7-5 against Jessica Pasillo from Cottesloe. And the other match being played, the Goods Property Services Women's State League. Greenwood up against Royal Kings Park. Megan Kaufman up a set and 2-1 against Tuck. Yelly Kelleher is up a set and 2-1 against Natasha Karma-Pesky. Brooke Campbell from Kings Park is up a set and 4-1 against Laura Polzani. And Amy Finlay is up a set and 1-love against Kings Park Sally Partington. So all the momentum with Kings Park at the moment in that match. Watching the boys just take a little bit of extended time here. Matthew Burton just toweling off at the change of ends. Will Hahn off court, just having a refresher because the conditions are so brutal out here on court. Umpire just giving both athletes a little bit of extra time just to drop the body temperature, get a bit of hydration. We'll keep you across the scores on the other court between Max Weir and Evan Manso. Max Weir won the first set 6-1, is currently trailing 2-1 in the second set. Again, beautiful conditions out here, albeit a little bit extreme, a little bit hot, not a lot of breeze, a little bit of a, as you're watching on camera, probably left to right, Robbie Kennedy, but both these matches, I mean, they're being played in extended times and taking a lot of energy out of all these athletes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if anyone's come down with a sub for doubles. We've seen James Connolly walking around, whether he's just playing a coaching role today or possibly step in for the doubles. It'd be one of those great days to do so, not for just a tactical purpose, but also just the conditions as well. You come off a big grind, especially if you're playing in the number 1 or number 3 match. Maybe straight after that, doubles might not be your go. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that goes.
As an athlete, Robbie, knowing that the day was going to be very tropical, quite hot, what do you do to prepare? Do you prepare the night before? Do you get some hydration into you? Try to drink, 2, 3, 4 litres of water before you're coming into this match?
Yeah, no, it was all about the night before for me. Definitely making sure you get the Powerades in. And then on the day, I try to not go too heavy on the day. It was definitely the night before. The last thing I wanted to do was get too much in me before I played. I felt a bit heavy, but the night before definitely, and then be sipping away in the mornings. You always want to get a good feed in the night before as well. I was very superstitious.
The carbs?
You know what? I wasn't superstitious with what I had the night before. Yeah, no, definitely not pizza and beer. Definitely not pizza and beer. But yeah, I try to depend on the match, mate. Try to not take it too seriously. But you want to eat something healthy, but get something in you that was going to get you through the next day.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis North, Tennis West. Hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Matty Burton, closer to the camera, serving after winning the first set, 7-5.
I think the other tricky one for me was being a coach as well through a lot of my playing days here in WA was, I had to coach that morning as well. So on court from about, 7 in the morning. I did enjoy always being the first match of the day because it then allowed me to possibly have, something light to eat while I watched the next match. So, yeah, it was a really big one for me to make sure I was ready, especially if it was a hot day.
Matches to follow. Looking forward to the current WA Open winner, Scotty Jones, up against Ethan Cook. That's going to be an absolute blockbuster as we're watching terrific athletes out here. Some of the WA's very best male athletes out on court here this afternoon. Of course, we're being broadcast from Hensman Park Tennis Club, one of the premier state league tennis clubs right across Australia. Indeed, right across Australia. Matty Burton serving. Beautiful. beautiful cross-court backhand. What do you want to see from Will Hahn, given that he's lost the first set, had chances to close the first set out? He's giving the same game right now to Matty Burton. What do you think needs to change with Will Hahn's game?
Yeah, I nearly wanted to start speaking halfway through the point. I really like that he's gone back to that inside-out forehand. I think that worked well for him pushing wide. As the match went on in that first set, he started going more back to the inside in. So I want to see him pushing that wide, not be afraid to go to that forehand. At the same time, I want to see him get into the net. I'd love to see a count of his net point wins. If he got to the net, I think he won more times than not. And I think he looks comfortable there. So I'd like to see him, stay strong on his return, trust his serve, look to come in off that inside-out forehand.
The only point he'd actually lost serving and volleying was during that tiebreaker too. So that would have given him a bit of a jolt. Playing that backhand. Gee, we've seen a lot of errors come by that backhand wing, just overplaying Willie Hahn. A good steady game from Matty Burton.
I feel like he's ahead of it. He looks like he's getting a bit ahead of that backhand, and it's getting right up above his shoulder. And he looks a little bit ahead of it as he's hitting it. It looks like he's in two minds of like he's always looking to get around for that ball. Oh no, there it is, and he's just sort of rushing a little bit on it.
Beautiful running forehand down the line. Nice hold of serve for Matthew Burton as he kicks off this second set in fine form. 1 game to love after winning the first set, 7 games to 5. As a player, once you win that first set, would you rather serve to start the second, or would you rather return, give yourself a bit of breather?
Oh, I think you always want that serve first. I always would like that serve first. You always feel comfortable. You want to be confident in holding serve. You want to be that 1 point ahead. I think being ahead is definitely key. I enjoyed it. At any point, you've got the time to catch your breath, take your time, reset. Sometimes you can catch the other person off guard as well. I think they're just going to ease back into it and get an easy hold and then really switch on for that next break.
A couple of the rule changes over the last 10 years. Players nowadays at the start of their first and second sets, and indeed third, fourth and fifth in the Grand Slam, is you don't sit down after the first game. You just go straight around, where before you'd play 1 game, sit down, go back out and play 2 games. Nowadays, start of every set, you play 3 games without taking a break. What do you think about that change of rule?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think get moving into it. I think we've talked about it a lot, tennis being that mano v mano, 1v1 kind of atmosphere. You want to get into the game. You've had a nice break. You've had a change, after the set, had that little bit of a break there. There's been too much controversy about toilet breaks and what that does in the pro game especially. I think here, why add another long break at one love? Let's get through it. Let's get the first 3 games in, and then we can have the breaks from there.
Interesting you mentioned that. Stefanos Tsitsipas was under fire for the extended toilet breaks after every set to change momentum, and the ATP have come out and had a rule change regarding toilet breaks now, as we see Will Hahn serving closest to the camera. They've suggested there's only 1 toilet break per set. I think there was some argument and some concern around the length of time that Stefanos Tsitsipas was taking during his toilet breaks.
I think it's going to be one of those ones that's very interesting from a Players Association standpoint of telling them when they can and can't go to the toilet. Obviously, there's questions of what's going on at that time, but where do you draw the line? What does that look like? And obviously the ATP have made that decision. I think it's going to be good for the fans, and I think it sort of breaks that controversy a little bit. But it'd be interesting to see what happens when that moment comes and somebody really needs that break.
Will Hahn serving. Carry on with that toilet break conversation post this point. Just disappointed overplaying that forehand then. Players going to the toilet for these toilet breaks. I mean, for 10-minute break, what are you doing in the toilet for 10 minutes, Robbie Kennedy?
Yeah, no,
are you just calming down? Are you getting the heart rate down? Are you doing the business? I mean, what do you used to do when you go to the toilet?
Well, I think that's where the controversies come into it, isn't it? There's got to be a time limit. We know the average, but again, we're getting to like these personal sides of it, which is odd, especially if somebody's actually doing the right thing.
That point we love. Great hands around the net, Will Hahn. He's got to take advantage of that, continually move forward and be the aggressor. Hasn't lost too many from that position. doing the right thing in the toilet. So you're talking about the ones and twos. Is that the right thing, Robbie?
If that's where we're going to go with the conversation, absolutely. That's what a toilet break is for. Shout out to Peter Schoolgate. I'm sure he's listening. He was a teammate of mine and a bit of competition there as well. Loved the toilet break after a split set. We
He'd
go
have a
into
half an hour
third.
shower, wouldn't he?
Mate, he came out looking like he had 2 showers in a bath at the same time. But
High performance coach from Tennis West, former coach at Claremont Tennis Club. Overplaying that forehand, Matty Burton, and of course Peter Schoolgate, father of Tristan Schoolgate, one of the shining stars in the men's game coming out of Australia at the moment. Part of the Davis Cup squad last year when they played in Adelaide against Brazil. What a great experience for young Tristan Schoolgate, grown up with a racket in his hand. I remember you and I were playing State League down at Claremont and watching this 8, 9-year-old kid and Tristan just get out there and hit a ball around. All of a sudden now he finds himself inside top 600, 700 in the world and making a career out of tennis.
yeah, it definitely shows our age when you see him doing what he's doing now. But yeah, it's wonderful to see.
Bit of breeze here. You can see just
I think
the shirts blowing around here from Will Hahn.
Yeah, the wind's definitely picked up a bit. We're looking across at the trees now over across the course, and that wind's definitely picked up. How much of a difference that making to them at the moment, maybe we'll wait and see, but you can definitely feel it. Just slightly mishitting that backhand there. We haven't seen too many of them from Matthew Burton. He's definitely found his rhythm from about halfway through that first set to now. So that one's a bit off-putting, and hopefully he can just sort of move on from there.
As we go across to court 2. Watching Max Weir from Cottesloe up a set and 5-2. Looking to serve this match out for Cottesloe to get Cottesloe off to a nice flying start here in the number 4 singles spot.
I think he was actually down 2-1 in this set as well, so he's definitely found that form that he was hitting. We could see him across the court here playing a fantastic first set, so he's clearly found that rhythm again and looking to close out the match.
Easy power, Max Weir serving. Again, just snatching in that first serve. Evan Manso overplaying that forehand, just snatching at it too. No backswing or follow through for Evan Manso. Again, this is his first singles match for the Goods Property Services round 7 Tennis West State League. So he's coming just a little bit rusty playing singles. Prefers the doubles, Evan Manso. Max Weir, that serve. Currently leading 5 games to 2. After winning the first set 6 games to 1. Big serve again, easy power. Catching the top of the tape.
One of those interesting ones where you see the ball slightly roll across, but I can tell you right now, Evan was not going to give Max a first serve back, that was for sure, and to Max's credit, he didn't call it either, so they played it out, but I'm pretty sure Evan was happy that it didn't come a couple more inches onto that court.
I would have called it. In my day, give them nothing, Robbie. Max Weir serving. Set and 5-2 up. Has struggled finding a first serve in this game. Overplaying that lob. I do like that tactic though from Evan Manso. Just the short ball, forcing Max Weir in. Tried the backhand lob a la Leighton Hewitt, but overplaying it. Such an important tactic and a stroke, that lob. Being able to hit that lob religiously like Leighton Hewitt, that was almost his preferred shot. Trying to pass opponents at the net, just go over the top of them.
Absolutely, and when you can do it well, it's an absolute weapon. I think some people look at it as a defensive shot, but if you can play that attacking lob, it's an absolute weapon to have in your kit bag.
Speaking of weapons, that big first serve, and we can see Max Weir closing out that match against the captain of Hensman Park, Evan Manso, 6-1, 6-2, and a touch over 82 minutes as we sneak back across to court number 1. Matty Burton and Will Hahn. Good start there for Cottesloe. Max Weir on a real tear this year, yet to lose a match at State League level. Gives the Cottesloe a 1 rubber to love lead against top of the table Hensman Park. Matty Burton just taking his time.
I haven't watched Max Weir play for a while, but that was an impressive match out there. And Evan Manso is no easy beat, and that was he just put him to the sword and just played an incredible match from what I saw. Weapons all round, using that serve and that forehand to credit.
Max Weir's had some good wins this year. Beat Ben Dellinger and Josh Bowen, Reece McDougall, Lim, and he's really just setting himself up to have a very, very promising career. Late bloomer, but his game has stood the test of time.
Just long there. Really great point. Looking to see, get him around and got into that forehand there. Went the inside in again, but more squeezed into his body. And Matty just putting it long. In regards to Max Weir, I mean, we talked heavily about whenever you look at a team and as a commentator, we think, you know, who's going to be the team to beat this year? And you very easily get sucked into just looking at the ones and twos. But when you've got a number 4 that's doing what Max is doing out there and winning all their matches, it's an absolute anchor to the team that you can have that someone that's reliable to win those matches.
Yep, you need great depth in this competition. You know, your best players won't necessarily be able to carry a state league team. We've seen that for the best part of 30 years. You need good depth. And we're seeing that, particularly, as you may mention, Max Weir having those wins throughout this first 7 rounds here in the Men's State League does give the rest of the team a real lift. They can go into their match with a bit of confidence that it's not all riding on them to win. You know, you've got your teammates that are doing the heavy lifting. And Max Weir, again, undefeated so far throughout this Goods Property Services Men's State League competition.
Yeah, I don't care who you have at number 1, no matter what, each week they're going to have a tough match and you don't know which way it's going to go. But when you have that confidence in your number 4 to do what they're going to do, it really does lift you as a player and just give you that little bit more confidence as a team. They've got my back and we're going to have some success today and have a bit of fun doing it.
Big serve from Matt Burton, I should say, serving, Hensman Park. Gets another big serve down the tee. Just finding his range out here. 2 aces in a row.
I think there's a little bit of breeze behind him now. Maybe they're looking to change that pace and use that breeze a little bit more, flattening it out. He's been rolling it in a little bit more and using that slice, but in that case he's really flattened out a couple and using that slight breeze. I do say slightly, very loosely, because it's still quite warm and quite calm out here.
Yeah, beautiful play point there, Matty Burton. You can see just opening the court up with that big off forehand, capturing that game. Currently leading 2-1 against Will Hahn in the second set after leading and winning that first set 7-6. I'm looking across at court number 2. Court number 2 at the moment. We're seeing a couple of big hitters, a couple of big lads in the game at the moment. Austin Voss from Hensman Park up against Sam English. Both boys have to be about 6'4", 6'5" in the old language, Robbie Kennedy. You talked about the size of players in the men's game and the women's game seem to be getting taller and taller, and we've seen some really tall athletes in today's time.
It's the levers as well. You just sort of look at them tall in stature and they're strong boys out there. And you and I aren't short, but I'm pretty happy to stay here, seated where we are, because they might put us a little bit to shame out there. But it's the levers and how they use them. And I think back in the day, we used to look at someone tall and think they don't have the mobility. But now you start to see, you know, the average tennis player, the height they are. I think we all saw that photo from the ATP Cup tie that just happened, and the tournament that we had. And Djokovic was the shortest out of all of them by a mile, and he's 6'3". So definitely the game and the way it's changing, it's clear to see.
Yeah, gone are the days when athletes who are 5'7", 5'8", like Kenny Roseville and the great Rod Laver were dominating the men's game. It is. Athletes are getting taller, getting stronger. And of course, technology plays a big part in the way it's changed the game. Serve and volley, you don't see a lot of that anymore. It's really from the baseline. Big first serve, big forehand cuts the ball, and the court movement. I think the athletes on the main tour, men's and women's, are some of the greatest athletes across all sports, Robbie.
Yeah, because you have to be all-rounded. You can't just be fixated on one strength. And I think when we see the mobility, their fitness, their endurance, their speed, they're working on not only their fast twitch muscles, but also working on their endurance. You have to have it all. And it is an absolute pleasure to watch them move around the court. They move so gracefully. I think we just went up to the Geraldton Forum recently and somebody mentioned the word very ballet-like. And it's true, just that talent to see them in the way they float around the court, they move with speed, and they can do it for a long time as well, which is always a credit to them as well.
I'll just touch on that. Geraldton up there for the red ball competition. Went up there for a Midwest Forum, talking to all the clubs, talking about what good tennis communities look like, good club culture, and also culminating in a red ball competition at the Geraldton Tennis Club. You had 220 kids. You had Natalie Lama, the coach at Geraldton Tennis Club, and Jaron Kretschmann, the coach at Tarcoola, down there on the court with a lot of helpers. Yourself leading that, Robbie. What a successful day, an outing and activation that was. You must have been very happy with the participation levels coming out of Geraldton.
Absolutely. There's been a massive push for tennis in the regions, not only just the regions, but also just getting out to our clubs from a club development standpoint, but also from a classroom to clubhouse connection standpoint, from the schools to the club, to the coaches, and making sure that we're connecting every piece. So really loved going out and having a forum. We had about 30 plus volunteers. They're really keen to talk about tennis in the Midwest. And then, as you said, 220 kids for a red ball competition. It's a credit to our schools team and the work that they're doing to get those kids there, and then that connection piece to the clubs.
Will Hunt serving, jamming up Maddie Burton. Beautiful body serve, swinging into the right hip there of Maddie Burton. Maddie Burton currently leads by a set 2-1 in this number 2 singles match of the Goods Property Services, round 7, Men's State League competition. What are you whispering to Will Harns here? More serve and bowling?
Yeah, I still want to see him coming into the net, absolutely. I think Matt's really found his rhythm at the back, and I think he's starting to get on top of him now at the back of the court, so I think Will's got to change it up a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. Doesn't have to force it.
Beautiful swinging serve to the ad court, and Matty Burton's calling that good. Will Hahn just talking to himself, giving himself a bit of a G up.
I think Will was just wanting to confirm that it definitely was in. I tell you what, that took off. For a hard court, that really took off.
Didn't it? Yeah, sure did. Probably into the teeth of the wind too. Ball didn't hold up, but he's gone to that serve, and Matty's looking for that swinging serve out to the backhand court, so he's sitting on that return. So you'd like to think that Will might want to change it up, go down heavy down the tee, particularly to the ad court. Beautiful play. I like that play. Just light on his feet, getting around, opening up the shoulders, the big forehand. That's what he was dictating, certainly in the early stages of that first set, where he had 2 set points, and again just started this set a little bit sluggish, but now he's starting to up his game and up the ante against Matty Burton from Hensman.
He got himself in the right position there, which is great, like having to work hard to get into that position as well, but he got himself there, he trusted himself, he picked the play that he wanted to, and he really executed and went nice and strong through that ball.
Boy's just taking a little extra time, and he's hot out here. The match is 90 minutes old. Trying conditions. Overplaying the first serve. Will Hahn from Cottesloe serving. Beautiful. Again, wrong footing, Matty Burton. He's just got to look to keep moving around, hitting that big forehand and taking the opportunities when they present. Again, Matty doesn't give a lot, but when he starts to hit the ball short, that's when Will Hahn really got to start taking his chances and pouncing on it. 2 games apiece here.
As I said earlier, I don't think he has to force it. I think he's got to still trust himself. We enjoyed seeing him go after his shots in the early parts of that first set. I think he's got to back himself. He is still hitting a nice clean ball, but you know, Matt's put that pressure on him and knowing that ball's coming back a lot more now.
Again, the win-loss ratios at the net for the attacking player is really in the favour of the aggressive player, the net rusher. So the boys need to recognise that. They need to understand that every time they are moving forward, they're winning 90, 95% of the points. And I don't think, for me, that they're using that tactic enough.
No, I agree. I think their counter-argument will be we're picking the right ball and that's why, and we're not forcing it. But at the same time, there's been some opportunities to come in. There's been some opportunities to put some pressure on that player, and let's see what they're going to do. Definitely start to see the fatigue on their faces a little bit more. The temperature's getting to them.
Lovely touch there, beautiful. And Matty just looking at that baseline, catching the back end of the line. Oh, you're suggesting they need to go to the Hawkeye, Robbie?
He was tight, and to his credit, he's called that ball in there. I think he even had a little glance over to us to see what we were thinking, which we're not going to point that out, but it was very tight. So to his credit, good call. When in doubt, call it in. But no, you can't. It rhymes, but it's not the right thing. But no, to his credit,
correct.
Good call, good sportsmanship. He's having a look at it, but he's got to move on now.
Overplaying that forehand, gee whiz, he's had that shot on his racket all day, and just again overplaying, trying to be the aggressor, taking it up to his Hensman Park opponent, Matthew Burton. Burton serving closer to the camera. You're right, the temperature I think has just dropped a little bit. It's still quite tropical out here. A little bit more breeze around, it'll cool the players down. Gee, I love that. Flattened out that forehand. Hit that absolutely out of the screws.
And that's big. That's great. I mean, again, he trusts himself when he gets in position, and I think he's shown himself that if he slightly undercommits, that's when he's hitting it long. He's just not committing to it enough. But in that way, that was just a wow shot right there. Here's my question to you. Will's definitely starting to take a little bit of time between points as the returner. Where do you sit on speed of play? Should you be with the server, or do you have that allowance to take a bit of time?
Good serve, swinging wide, and it's a great argument. You'd look at the quicker players like a Nick Kyrgios, and he likes to get up to serve and serve straight away, where players like a Rafael Nadal, they like to control the tempo and dictate really when they're serving and receiving. They go through their rituals, and he does take his 24 seconds every time. And I know there's been arguments from Nick every time he does play Rafa about how he's got to play to his tempo when he's serving, not to his own tempo. I think it's got to be a balance. I think, that the rule is that you play to the tempo of the server, but I don't think, particularly with Nick, he just gets up there and rolls the arm over. He doesn't waste any time at all, and that's more gamesmanship than anything, I would have thought. And like I said, Rafa likes to go through his rituals, but I still think you need to give players time to get ready. Love that cross-court forehand again. The big come on from Matty Burton as he just stretched the backhand wing of Willie Hahn. Willie Hahn kicking the ball down. That's only the second point he's lost at net, but I do like that tactic. I think he's still got to go to the well and keep trying to move forward and be the aggressor.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed in that volley there. I think he got himself in the right spot, probably just went through the motion a little bit. He's probably hit it a little bit too deep, so all Matty had to do was take a couple of steps across. The ball was still there in his slot, so hopefully he doesn't overthink that one and continues to come in and get the ball in that right spot at the net.
Beautiful play, Matty Burton. Just great consistency and directional play, moving Willie Hahn left to right. Holds his serve, leading 3-2 after capturing the first set 7-6. Court number 2 in today's play. We're seeing Austin Voss from Hensman Park, I should say. Comes in at the number 3 singles against Cottesloe's Sam English. Closest to the camera, you see Austin Voss. Tall player. Both players 6'4", 6'5" in the old scale. This is going to be an intriguing match. Austin Voss has been in great form, particularly here in State League and also with the AMTs. Been dominating at doubles level with his good mate Ethan Cook. And Sam English has had a breakout year this year too in State League, dominating in the number 3 and number 4 positions across this Goods Property Service State League competition. Round number 7. Hope you're enjoying today's broadcast, brought by Scotty's Media. Scotty Walsh, Tomio Yamazaki. My name's Brett Patton, sitting alongside head of tennis, former pro, former coach Robbie Kennedy, giving you update right across this afternoon's play with all the other men's and women's State League competitions.
I think we saw Austin Voss just lose his shocky there. He's had to call out for another dampener.
big first serve, Austin Voss, and we'll see that throughout the day with these two players. Just rangy, tall players, like we saw with Max Weir from Cottesloe. The ball coming down from a great height. Certainly favours the servers. These conditions, they're quick, and a lot of breeze around, a little bit hot, so the ball will move through the air quite quickly.
Always very jealous when I see a serve like that. We talked about it while we were watching Max Weir. Just to have that ease of serve and just that absolute weapon that, you know, when you step up to your serve, to have that behind you just gives you that little bit of confidence. Not that, not a play on words here, but just stand that little bit taller as well as you step up to the baseline. But yeah, it is beautiful seeing, and we're seeing it more and more with the next generation of players coming through.
Serving, the net stick has just fallen over. Technically, they should fix that up before continuing on with the point. Beautiful half volley on the backhand wing from Austin Voss. Austin's just pointing to the referee to say, can you come out and insert the single stick for us? It's just fallen over. Jill Sheridan is here today. She's manning the ship for all the officials, as they do a wonderful job, the officials, referees, men's and women's state league competition and across all the tournaments and leagues.
Absolute stalwart of the competition, Jill Sheridan, around in our day, and she does a fantastic job and brings a great character to the game as well.
Beautiful half volley, but again, that backhand passing shot from Maddie Burton proving pivotal. I'd like to think that Will Hahn will start attacking off that forehand wing because the backhand is so devastating from Matthew Burton.
Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed, and I was just sort of thinking about it then, he's really gone to that backhand a lot today, and Matt's really found his rhythm. It'd be interesting to see if he changed it up, look to Matty's forehand a little bit. Obviously, you've got to pick the right ball, and maybe there's a reason why he's doing it, but Matt's definitely executing on that backhand side at the moment. Just had a look over my shoulder. We've got the godfather of tennis, Rob Kildare, is here, and he just had a cheeky chat to Scott Jones before his match. Wonder what he's telling him.
Saying that you got a fair bit longer to wait. Rob Kildare, one of the great characters of WA tennis for over 60 years. Beautiful deep response. Playing that wide, that's it. Moving Matthew away from that centre corridor. He's really been dictating the directional play, Matty Burton. The ball's sort of mid-court, centre, third of the court, and he's just been able to dictate to Will Hahn, moving him right or left, because to your point only moments ago, I think the step count is probably greater on Will's end than it is in Matty's end.
Absolutely. It's one of those things. It's not saying that he's not working hard, but it's just his composure and his poise at the back of the court. He puts himself in the right positions. He trusts himself with where the ball is hit to execute the next shot.
I do like that shot, short cross court, taking the depth out of it to work Matty Burton closer to the net. I like that combination from Willie Hahn.
I still question every time. I feel like Will's listening to us when he comes back to this back corner. A couple of times there he went to the forehand on that point, actually got the short ball that he wanted, and then, as you said, took a little bit of the pace off as well, changed it up a bit, and it was a good change up to see from Will.
Well, when you listen to the super coach Rob Kennedy, just giving some great advice out here. My name is Brett Patton, of course sitting alongside Head of Tennis North for Tennis West, Rob Kennedy. Hope you're enjoying today's broadcast, brought to you through the live stream of the West Australian newspaper. I'll give you the update right across the good property services, men's and women's state league competition. Some other matches being played right around today. Will Hahn serving. And that backhand wing again, attacking that backhand side again, opening up the shoulders. Matty Burton, the nice passing shot down the line. You can here, Willie Hahn just talking about it, saying keep it away from the backhand wing. He's starting to get it. He's got to attack on that forehand side from Matty Burton, because I don't think he's missed a backhand passing shot yet, Robbie.
Yeah, no, it's actually going to be one of the first times I've said, you know, he sort of came in off a 50-50 ball, and I didn't mind it. He actually got himself in the right position. As he walked past here, he's a bit down on himself. He didn't really step into that volley. And as you said, I think he's got to start questioning where he starts to put the next one, because the backhand passing shot at the moment looks pretty strong from Matt.
Certainly the stronger wing for Matty Burton, backhand side. Rarely misses. There's the double fault. That's the scoreboard pressure. First double fault we've seen from Will Hahn today, but again, it's amazing what a little bit of scoreboard pressure, a little bit of intensity, and some players either rise to the challenge and some players start to struggle under those pressure situations. We'd like to think that Will can hit his way out of this. Doesn't want to go down in straight sets.
I've used the word a couple of times in this match, that composure and that poise, but I'm likening Matt Burton very much to James Newton, who we watched a couple of weeks ago out at Dalkeith. They just look like they're in control, even if they're not winning the match, where, you know, they just seem to just back themselves and trust their game, which is a credit to our high performance coaches in WA.
Lovely. There we see it. He got away with one there, but I do like that aggressive play from Willie Hahn, moving forward, giving Matty Burton a different look. And again, the error came off the forehand wing.
It did. I'm sorry, I'm chuckling along. I'm not sure what that move was called to the net. Is it called the starfish or something?
Yeah, it could be.
Make himself look large at the net. But as you said, the error came on the forehand wing. And I think Will's going to start thinking about that a little bit. You know what? Either I'm going to cover the backhand down the line, and let's see if you've got something else, or I'm going to make you beat me off the other side.
Yeah, smart play, Will Hahn. Just changing up the look for Matty Burton. Again, lovely play. Well done. Smart play from Will Hahn, moving forward. Great hands around the net, making short work of that. And again, that would quicken the points up, shorten the points up. Not using as much energy out as you would standing at the back of the court, hitting 10, 11, 12 balls. Yeah, changing that play.
There's no doubt Will looks comfortable at the net. I know he's questioned maybe a couple, but I want to see him keep coming in. If I'm Scotty Jones or someone coming to that sideline right now to have a chat, right now getting to that net is working for him. Yes, pick the right ball. Yes, wait for the right time, but look to get in.
Unfortunately, just opening the shoulders up, going down the line. Still, I'd like to think he'd start to move forward again on about shot 3 or 4, just to give Matty Burton something different to look at, Robbie.
I just don't think he needs that ball. Like, how many times have we had Matt Burton hit a clean winner from the back of the court with Will at the back of the court? So he's been pushed out to that forehand side. He's looked to really drive it down the line. Get that ball back deep, make Matt play another ball, wait for your short ball, and then look to come in from there. Like, I don't mind him going for his shots, and he's shown that he can do it. But right now, put the pressure right on Matt.
Words from Rob Kennedy. Big serve down the tee. Just missing. Beautiful forehand down the line. Just hitting it right into that hitting zone for Matty Burton. He does love to lean on that ball down the line, particularly off the forehand wing. And again, I don't think Willie's giving enough different looks for Matt at this stage.
Oh, that's just a quality shot. Sometimes you got to tip your cap to that one, but I think you're right. That change has got to come now. I think it's very clear from that 5-4 moment in the first set that things have definitely swung. And yeah, it's time for Will to sort of maybe change it up a little bit.
Again, snatching at that first serve. Trying to go swinging wide again. Beautiful day here at Henderson Park Tennis Club. Solid crowd here, big crowd. Cheering on the top 2 teams in the men's competition. Yeah, lovely swinging left-handed serve, and again, just ratifying it with a little fist pump. He understands the importance of holding serve here, putting the pressure back on Matthew Burton. Doesn't Doesn't want to find himself behind on the score count.
This is one of those ones where I'm really interested if he can just take a little bit of a breath, get this game. I'm interested now to see the difference in those first 2 sets. Now Matt will have to be thinking, oh, I've missed an opportunity here, where we know we'll have to think that way a little bit in the first set.
Just wide again. Coming off the forehand wing. I like that play. That jammed Matty Burton up. He had to move away and try to hit sort of the inside out forehand. Game point opportunity now for Will Hahn. Get it back on parity. Currently Matty Burton leads by 7 games to 6 and 3 games to 2 on serve in this second set. Pivotal number 2 singles match here at the top of the table clash between Cotswold Tennis Club and Hensman Park. Again, the fist pump too over to his teammates, and they get up and celebrate with him. Good hold to serve, 3 games apiece. Will Hahn got out of jail that occasion, putting the pressure again right back on Matthew Burton.
Again, we're right on that baseline there. That was a great call by Will. It caught the back of the line. He played it extremely well. What was interesting was you could see that he wasn't planning on coming to the net, but once Matty changed to that slice backhand, I'm coming in, which is something that I like to see. Your balls become a better shot than you want. Catch them off guard if they want to take the pace off, and you come from there.
Will went for the towel, was looking to change ends, but realised it's actually an even game, 3 games apiece. Matty Burton to serve. Match is nearly 110 minutes old. Must be taking some energy out of both of these athletes. Finely tuned athletes, good athletes, but again, hot conditions.
Intrigued to see how Matty Burton plays this game. You know, he's had some opportunities just then, and now he's got to step up and hold serve again.
Missing that backhand wide from Will Hahn. Game style of Matty Burton, very reminiscent of Daniil Medvedev. Just a ball machine. Lean, long levers, doesn't make too many errors. Sort of bores his opponents to death in a lot of ways. Just keeps making them play another shot and another shot and another shot. Serving 3 games apiece in the second set. Matty Burton from Hensman Park, 15 love up. Overplaying that, was catching the top of the frame.
I can assure you we're not bored watching this match, and that's definitely not what you're alluding to, but what you're saying is spot on. And sometimes when you're down Will's end playing against somebody like this, you're like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? And sometimes you come out of that game plan A so quickly because you just see this guy making ball after ball after ball and just not looking like he has any weaknesses, and it can play on your mind, and you try to hit that one ball a little bit early. So I think you're spot on with the compliment.
Certainly those players were the ones I got frustrated with the most. Those players who just are so consistent. You had to make something happen. You had to win the match. They were never going to lose the match, and that's what we see with Matty Burton. He's not losing the match here. So it's up to Will to see what he can do to change his game style around, to start winning the ascendancy.
And I think that's the difference in the generations. This is very much where if my game plan A wasn't working against someone like that, I'm looking to serve volley. Just change it up.
Beautiful. That's the aggressive play, moving forward, giving Matty Burton another look. Good tactics there. 15:30 opportunity here. Just gets his nose in front again. That scoreboard pressure, but we've seen Matty just come out and just shut the opportunity down for Will Hahn at every turn.
It's really nice seeing the subtle and the contrast in the way these two are playing. Will's definitely looking to show that assertiveness, and then obviously you've got Matt at the other end showing that counter puncher. So it's going to be really interesting to see which way comes out on top.
Overplaying that forehand. Again, scoreboard pressure. Will Hahn, opportunity here. Needs to make one of these opportunities count.
No doubt in his mind, as he's walking back right now, you can't help but think about that. You can't help but tell yourself, come on, pick the right ball. It also starts with this first one. Let's get this return back, and then we'll see what happens from there.
There it is, the breaker serve, the first break. You see Matty Burton frustrated with himself, but good breaker serve from Will Hahn to find himself up 4-3. With a break in the second set after losing the first set 7-6 as we skip across to court number 2. Sam English furthest from the camera from Cottesloe serving against Austin Voss on serve at the moment. 2-1. Voss closest to the camera. Both players, tall, rangy athletes. Heavy hitters, big serves. Overplaying that first serve, Sam English. And the blue courts of Henson Park Tennis Club, situated in the leafy suburb of South Perth. Ooh. Beautiful backhand down the line and the receiving fist pump as well. He loves to get up and about. Austin Voss, that's very collegiate. Used to do a lot of that during your days, coming back from college.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you have that, especially when you're in an atmosphere like this, you're playing with the team and you like getting your team behind you as well. I used to play with a guy named Scott Utley as well. They just love your teammates getting up in you. And if you weren't up with him, he'd tell you about it. But yeah, no, I love getting your teammates involved. A good fist pump, as we saw from Will Hahn on the same first court, looking straight down the eye of his teammates. Come on, let's get up together.
English serving, double fault. A bit of scoreboard pressure. You mentioned Scotty Utley. What a great, colourful character Scotty was. Played for North Beach for many, many years. Playing a lot of the ITF over 30s tour now. Australian over 35s champion of some 5 or 6 years ago. One of the real great characters of WA tennis. Loves his tennis, loves getting in the face of his opponents and geeing up his partners.
Yeah, very, very passionate guy. Enjoyed winning a couple of pennants with him. He was a great teammate. You knew he'd always be in your corner. Speaking of which, we've got the Seniors State Championships coming up in December. Over 30 this year. Just a reminder, anyone 30 plus, it's time to sign up and get involved in a state championship.
Being played at Netherlands Tennis Club in Dalkeith. Wonderful opportunity to get amongst your peers, your own age group. Enjoying this wonderful game of tennis. Yeah, I like that play. Chip and charge. Beautiful return of serve. Just blocked the ball back and came in high backhand volley. As we get back across to court number 1, Will Hahn serving with a break, leading 4-3. Ebbs and flows this match. He had 2 break points in the opening and 2 set points in the opening set. Finds himself up a breaker serve here. Beautiful play, Matty Burton. Just read that forehand down the line. Had the open court to hit it into Hahn, but chose the forehand, and so would the viewer eye, because that's where we're telling him to hit the ball. Such as the deadly backhand passing shot of Matty Burton, but just couldn't consolidate.
I'll tell you what, though, I think, and I'm pretty sure Wills would be thinking about it right now. There's a couple now of these high backhand volleys that he's just putting deep. Now, for anyone that's wondering what's wrong with a deep volley sometimes, you've only got to take those 2 steps across and that ball's right there in your zone. Sometimes you've got to find a way to take that pace off, or get it a little bit wider, or all Matty's doing is 2 steps across, bang, he's going to execute that ball, and he's too good to miss that shot.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis North, Tennis West. Former touring player, former coach. Shout out to Tom George, who's not part of the broadcast today, and Shane Smedley. No overplaying. Again, breaker serve is not a break until you hold, Rob Kennedy. So, love 30 here. All the hard work in that 7th game to break Matty Burton. He finds himself in a little bit of a hole here on the scoreboard. Does Will Hahn from Cottesloe.
Stealing one of my favourite quotes. I don't think I could tell you how many times I've said that in my head after a break. And it's so true, though. It really is not a break until you hold. And I can tell now Will's taking a couple of seconds here really just to think about it, because he's not far away from just getting this back.
missing that little touch drop shot. Love 43 breakback points for Matty Burton. Get the scoreboard back on parity. All before Will Hahn right here at the moment. All the hard work to get that break now. Has to go to plan B to see if he can't get back on parity. 1 point at a time. What would we have to tell himself? Is it 1 point at a time? Don't want to think too far ahead, Robbie.
Well, I was just thinking, it's really interesting this is about tennis. He actually hasn't done anything too wrong with his game plan. It's just been that final execution. So I'd kind of stick to what it is and hope the execution turns around.
There's that off forehand. He loves going to that off forehand in those situations. 15-40, gets one back. You're right. I think game plan's been good. The execution has just failed him. And Matty's played a superb game.
I mean, if we break this game down, he's had 2 times where he's been at the net and had a volley to play where he hasn't quite executed well. He's had a forehand that he's missed long, but as we know, as we've just seen in that point that's just happened, he can make that forehand and he's going to stick to the game plan. So I wouldn't overthink it. Just hope your skill comes back in and you make sure you execute on the next point. Definitely taking his time, which I like to see, because he's not that far away from making sure. And if he can hold here, it's going to go a long way to winning this match.
Missing that one wide. Second serve, 15-40. Overplaying. You can see Matty not happy with that return of serve. Took an air swing at his shoe then. Luckily he missed and would have done an injury to his ankle. 30-40, 2 points back. Again, we saw the ascendancy change in the first set when Matty Burton faced 2 set points. Managed to get his way out of that serving game and then winning the tiebreaker. Can we see that here with Will Hahn currently up a break but down a break point chance?
I reckon this is one of the biggest points in the match right here.
Just overplaying that forehand, not by much, but the scoreboard back at even 4 games apiece after really clawing out an exceptional breaker serve only a matter of 7 or 8 minutes ago. But again, momentum swings, Robbie.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, though, if you're Will Hahn's coach right now, you're loving his confidence. The shot was there to be played. You've hit it many times throughout this match, and you've had another opportunity to do so, and you've just slightly missed. It's a game of millimetres, and we know that, but you've got to tell yourself it's still on serve here now.
Playing that about a 1.5 foot long. You're right. It's the execution that's probably failed him over the last 7 or 8 minutes, particularly in that last service game. You're right. He's 4 games apiece. He's not behind on the score count. He's got to hold his head. Overplaying again. Nice first serve there from Matthew Burton.
This is what I was talking about with that being one of the biggest points, because I'm not saying Will has completely dropped off, but as a teammate right now, you've got to tell him, come on, you're still in this match, and this is going to be massive for us if you can turn this around. To Matthew's credit, he's just stepping up, continually just putting that pressure on and on and on and on, and Will's got to find a way to turn this around now.
Teddy Love. Again, overplaying his favoured preferred off forehand. Just has not found the rhythm throughout the last game and a half.
He is looking a little bit tired out there now. He looks like he's rushing and sort of whipping that forehand a little bit now.
2 hours old, this particular match in this heat. He's going to the tower quite often.
Could be one of those ones where he's looking at this now going, love 40, all right, I'll have a swing. 40 love, I should say. Having a little bit of a swing and let's see what happens. Let's move on.
Beautiful play. I like that style of play. Down love 40, to your point, just throws caution to the wind, moving forward, trying something a little bit different. The chip charge, beautiful hands around the net.
I wonder if that'll change something in his mindset. Yes, there was you say no pressure on that point in the situation of the game that we're in, but he's done something different that we haven't seen the whole match, and he actually executed it perfectly. So I wonder whether that's going to change his mindset a little bit. Do I look to come in a bit more? Do I really make Matt force the issue? I guess we'll see as we go through.
Seeing Matty take a little bit of extended time here, just trying to catch a little bit of the shadow that our commentary booth is throwing over the court. Just get some relief from that hot sun. Beautiful. Again, wrong footing, Matty Burton. Back to the forehand wing. He's had some great success wrong footing, Matty, over the last 3 or 4 games. 40-30, still a game point.
Oh, thank you, young man. My pleasure. You can see me struggling over here.
Lovely. Opening the shoulders up. Beautifully received by the crowd here too. Very, very generous crowd at Hensman Park Tennis Club. Backhand down the line. Back to deuce. Again, geez, we've seen some momentum changes in the last 15 minutes here in this number 2 singles match between Matty Burton and Will Hart.
Isn't it just amazing what a little bit of love 40 does? Just gives you that bit more confidence to go, you know what, I'm going to swing, I'm going to trust my shots. But it's been the balance. The balance on these shots have been incredible. And so now we have a different situation. Now you're like, well, actually, I'm back in this now. So hopefully he backs his confidence here, and because no doubt Matt's going to make him earn it.
Swinging serve, calling it wide. Well, Matty's not agreeing. He's saying no, it was a little wide. He's just having a look across at us, seeing if we saw anything. We couldn't tell from where we're at. Our vantage point doesn't give us that opportunity. He's accepting the call. Second serve at deuce. Very critical time of this second set. Beautiful forehand again. A little bit of frustration creeping in. That's 5 points in a row for Will Hahn. Again, gives him an opportunity to get another break. 4 games apiece. Matty Burton just frustrated with that last couple of points that he's played.
We talked about the mental poise that he's had, and we compared it similar to Jimmy Newton that we watched a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be one of those moments right now where you've just got to let go. So we'll learn a lot about Matthew Burton with what he does in these next couple of points. He's got to let it go. He's clearly not happy with it. A few shakes of the head behind the calls while we're behind that ball. Let's see what he can do.
There it is. Breaker serve. 5 games to 4 from Will Hahn. Beautifully dug in, finding himself down love 40 and got his way right back to holding Matty Burton accountable to dropping his serve, and gives him a chance to serve for this second set.
I'll tell you what Matty will be nervous about now is Will's actually found a bit of rhythm on that backhand, didn't he? So from love 40 down, from 40 love up in that serving game, so Will Hahn's gone about 4 backhand winners and just smooth connection. So he's been looking for that connection throughout this match. To add that to what he's been doing on his forehand, this exactly could be that exact same point that we had in the first set of just finding the rhythm at the right time.
Yeah, ebbs and flows in this match has been quite outstanding. And across to court number 2, we're seeing Austin Voss claiming the first set against Sam English, 6 games to 1. All important matches out here. Cottesloe currently leading on the scorecard 1 rubber to love after the win from Max Weir against Evan Manso. Hensman Park in that second court with Austin Voss looking to square the ledger. And this first singles is anyone's guess right now, Robbie.
Well, it looks like they're setting up for exactly what we wanted, which is the number 1 match going out there and probably being very crucial to whether it's going to be an absolute tie before the doubles or it could be a 3-1 swing. So thank you to Court 2 for the great matches they're playing as well, but really setting up for the importance of the number 1s and the number 2s. And the crowd is definitely picking up for this next match.
It's just taking a little bit of extended time. Courtside, Sam English is having a chat to Scotty Jones, just imparting some wisdom there after losing the first set 6 games to 1.
From what you know of Scotty Jones, mate, is this a little bit of his nervous energy before a match? He's walking out, he's a great teamsman, so let's not put that away. But going out doing a bit of coaching there, a bit of coaching here, do you think that helps him sort of get into his match and his mindset rather than just sit and watch?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it gets him match ready, and he's a great coach. He's a terrific student of the game, Scotty Jones, so he'd have some great wisdom that he'd be imparting to Sam English right now. And I think that'd just get his head right as well, rather than sitting back and just watching, throwing yourself into it, investing some energy. He'll be cherry ripe when he steps onto court post this second set. and potentially third set between Matty Burton and Will Hahn. Will Hahn serving for this second set. 5 games to 4. 2 service breaks so far. He gave one straight back in his last service game. Let's just see if he can hold this out, force it to a super tiebreaker third set where it becomes Russian roulette. Anyone's business. Beautiful forehand. Again, didn't do enough of that return of serve, Matty Burton, but the serve really just forced him to put it mid-court, open the shoulders up. He's gone to that off forehand many occasions this afternoon, Will Hahn. Just play to your strengths now, Robbie.
Oh, absolutely. You trust yourself. You trust what's been working. This is one of those moments where you go, right, what's my strength and actually what's been working in this match as well. I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to back it at the same time. Don't second guess yourself on a ball toss or anything like that. Trust yourself. Go with what works.
15 love. Forcing that long. Ball just bouncing back, just holding up play from a few moments. Will Hahn just stepping back, getting set for a second serve. Good again, solid play from Matthew Burton, just forcing that one extra shot from Will Hahn, overplaying the backhand deep. He really is a bumper board out there, Matty. Once he puts his mind to it, he just says, I'm not going to miss. And he generally doesn't.
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed by the way that he's played in this match. As you say, ebbs and flows throughout it, but he's kept his composure throughout this whole match. You know, obviously he might be a little bit flustered by what happened with the call in the last game, but he seems to have really just shrugged it off, straight back into his game. Very robotic, as you said, very Medvedev-like.
Daniel Medvedev, number 2 men's player in the world. High compliment. Overplaying, just long.
Don't mind this little bit of gamesmanship from the younger fella. You know,
Holding
it's
it
the
up.
right thing. You can move the ball, but you can tell there's a little bit of something to it, which I love to see.
Just making Will serve and wait. Overplaying that forehand cross court is a beautiful attacking forehand down the line from Matty Burton. Just force the pace, flatten the forehand out, taking some time away from Will.
Do we see the certain volley soon? I think Matt's getting the better of him actually at the back of the court, and I don't think Wills wants to grind it out with him. If he's using that little bit of a breeze to keep that ball deep here for Will, I think Will's got to start to look for some other options right now, because if he gets into this game plan, I'm swinging it towards Matt's favour.
Yeah, I'll be looking T-serve here and moving forward. Hitting a high quality first volley. And
I'll have a bit of fun with you. I'll go wide.
Right. Going wide. Read that well. Overplaying that forehand, just forcing the error. 15-40. Chance again for Matty Burton to get this score count back on parity in the second set.
That's the one I'm talking about. Will doesn't want to get into that game. You know, to Matt's credit, he's playing it fantastically. A little bit higher on the ball when necessary. When he can, he steps in and flattens it out a bit more, but he's making sure Will going, you know what, you want to crack that forehand? Crack it from behind the baseline.
2 break points. Went behind. Beautiful high backhand. Not an easy shot by any stretch. Made that look incredibly easy, particularly at that time.
Well, I think that's the first time that backhand volley's actually gone towards that corner. We were talking about it before. He's kind of gone the deep volley cross court. Matty's moved across and played that forehand. So definitely caught Matt off guard. He got in behind it, which was a great volley. Took a little bit of pace off it as well.
30-40, still another break point opportunity for Matty Burton.
You can see the ball's fluffing up a little bit now, aren't they? They're not getting as many real stings on that first serve, so we'll see what he does here with this one.
I think you're right, I think you go wide again here. He's going T, called it wrong. Went to the body. And you're right, the ball's fluffing up, not travelling through the air as quick as they were in the first set. Set and a half. 30-40, second serve. Let. Overplaying, just that backhand too long, and you can hear what that meant to Matty Burton with a big come on. Back on parity, 5 games apiece. Both boys have dropped 2 serves in a row. And again, a little momentum shift here in favour of the Hensman Park number 2 in Matthew Burton.
Doesn't it show you what a little bit of support can do as well? He's got his family clearly there in his back corner, just in his ear a little bit, giving that little bit of support, especially for a young player. Just to have that support behind you, you just sort of lift a little bit more, and all of a sudden it's not so hot anymore out on that court. I know I loved playing when the family came down and watched me, and it always just gave you that little bit of something that you're playing for, and especially when your club members are there as well. I think when you're playing state grade or Divi 1 for a club, to know that your club is actually behind you, coming down and supporting you, you just stand a little bit taller and enjoy your match a little bit more.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis North from Tennis West. Hope you're enjoying today's Goods Property Services round 7 of the WA State League competition. I like that, just floated that backhand deep and then captured the short ball cross court. 15 points apiece. Just a matter of both players keeping composed under this very high pressure situation.
Will likes to stay in his box a little bit here as he is. Really, not too much to his teammates, not too much to the crowd. I don't know whether it's a bit of fatigue, but you can see he's really thinking about what he's trying to do out there.
What I'd like to see is just probably a little bit more foot movement out here from Willie Hahn. Just seems to be flat-footed and trying to swing from the hip. Just wasn't in the right position to go after that deep backhand from Matty Burton.
No, I think you're spot on. We're very comfortable here in our commentary box, and it's been quite warm out there, and you can see that fatigue. We talked heavily about the foot count or the step count for Will over maybe a Matt to start with. Maybe that's starting to catch up a little bit now. Just another reason that's showing us why that super tie break for a third is the right decision as we head to 3:15 in the afternoon now.
Long match, one of the longest of the season. 2 hours and 15 minutes old. At the business end of the second set, of course, if it goes to third set, it is a super tiebreaker, which is first to 10 points. Both players starting to fatigue out here. Again, that's the fatigue setting in, trying to go for the forehand outright winner instead of sort of playing for the percentage.
I reckon it's both ways. You're 100% correct. That fatigue is definitely setting in, but we've talked about it heavily today. Just the perceived pressure that Matty Burton's been putting on by just making ball after ball. His depth has got better as it's gone on, so Will having to feel like he has to do something special.
Overplaying that forehand again. Changes ends. Currently leading 6 games to 5 after winning the first set 7 games to 6. Matthew Burton got a real pep in his step as he changes ends. He's going to sit down, hoping it's the sit down for the last time. And Will Hahn just moving into position now as he's going to take some time to just set himself. All important 12th game of this second set. So we skip across to court number 2. You see Austin Voss sitting down, just doing a regrip, such as the humidity out there, just changing grip because of the moisture and probably tearing that grip up. Currently leads by a set. And he's down 2 games to 1 at the start of this second set.
It's been hard to take the eyes off this front court that's in front of us, but every time that I have happened to glance over, Austin's playing some incredible tennis. I think we talked a lot about Max Weir and the way that he was playing, but Austin Voss has looked very comfortable out on the court. It looks like he's got control of the court and control of his game as well, which, you know, when you can see a player that just feels confident in what they're doing, you just see a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a pep in their step, and just looks like they're just in a good place every time they're hitting the ball.
Just coming out, ready to return serve. Austin Voss closest to the camera from Hensman Park Tennis Club. Big wristband, a la Ivan Lendl, covering, I should say, about 2/3 of his forearm.
I think that's an arm sleeve on quite a few other people, isn't it? It's just a sweatband for him, but
the shooter's sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving back to court number one, the closing stages of this second set between Will Hahn and Matthew Burton. Matty Burton closest to the camera, currently leads by a set and 6 games to 5. Held his serve for the first time in 3 attempts only moments ago. Will Hahn serving to stay in this match. Smart play, good aggressive attacking play, taking it right up to Matty Burton. Just didn't execute the backhand lob, caught the base of the racket, the frame, just dropped it short. Nice easy put away for Willie Hahn.
There's that serve volley that I'm talking about, nice little change up. It's interesting that they use it with the wing behind. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed serving volleying into the wing because to pass you was very tough with the wing behind to not flatten it long. Sometimes hitting into a breeze, you feel like you can let go a little bit more on your return, have a crack at it.
Catching the top of the tape, going for the off forehand again. Just didn't get set, didn't get in the right position. Probably 2 front on. 15 points apiece. 6 games to 5 to Matty Burton after winning the first set 7 games to 6. Number 2 Hensman Park athlete. We're going to close this match out in straight sets. A bit of work to be done yet. Match is 2 hours and 20 minutes old. Hensman Park currently sitting on top of the Goods Property Services State League ladder. Cottesloe sitting second. Boys exchanging words. Will thinks it was dead on. Matty called it wide. Matty's given him the serve. Great sportsmanship from Matty Burton, 30-15. Hasn't been too many disputes this afternoon. Played in great spirits out here between these 2 good athletes.
I can tell you, we've had a couple back here as well where they've been tired, even some of them may be out that have been called in, so it's good to see.
Beautiful lob. Lovely forehand lob from Matty Burton. 30 points apiece, 2 points away from closing this match out in straight sets. A lot of work to be done from Willie Hahn.
I'll tell you what, I've got a feeling Will Hahn will look back on this match and he'll be able to do so with you know, the recording of this live stream. There's that backhand volley again that he's just put at 3/4 court. He's gonna dread that a little bit. He's either got to get it wider and take the pace off, or like he did a couple of games before, get behind him with it. He's put himself in the right spot though, so we'll wonder what he does next.
There it is, beautiful passing shot, bringing up his first match point. Matty Burton with a cross-court forehand, just pure, straight out of the screws. Great opportunity to close this match out and give Hensman Park a rubber victory in the second singles match after Evan Manso lost in the 4th singles position. Cottesloe currently leading on the scorecard, 1 rubber to love. Match point here in the number 2 singles for Matthew Burton against Will Hahn from Cottesloe. Oh, there it is. Just finishing out the second set off the forehand error from Willie Hahn as Willie Hahn looks across and congratulates Matty Burton. Played in great spirits. Matty Burton, the Hensman